Good evening. Good evening. I will just let you know that we're going to be getting this show started soon. I am a twonk and I've broken my starting soon screen and I didn't test it before this session. So we're just going to wait for about 30 seconds for this to catch up and we're going to get started. So just while you're all getting ready, I just wanted to say that there isn't a technical issue other than me being silly and I can't get my screen working. Well, I can. I know how to do it, but I haven't done it. I deleted something earlier and I've killed my screen, so I'm going to put that back later. But anyway, just to let you know, we are going to get started in just a second. I just wanted to let this live stream catch up because there is a little bit of a lag, as always. I think you guys are typically about 20 seconds behind the actual live performance or content or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, that should have given us enough time. And if you just joined and you're wondering why there's a black screen, well, that's why, because it doesn't work and I've broken my screen. But we're going to go into it now anyway. So let's get started. Oh, that didn't work. Let's go camera only. We'll pan it back. Right. Tonight, if you're thinking about buying property in Cyprus, I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to show you what properties actually cost in different parts of the island across Paphos, Limassol, Larnaca, Nicosia, Famagusta, because depending on where you're looking to buy, depending on what you're looking for, is going to depend vastly where you invest your money. Okay. You're watching Cyprus Unfiltered, where I tell you real stories about real life here in Cyprus. So today we are going to compare the 5 main areas. And as I've just mentioned in the intro, it's Paphos, Limassol, Larnaca, Nicosia, and Famagusta. Now, before anybody jumps on me and says that Famagusta is a city and it's not necessarily in the Republic of Cyprus, I just want to say we're talking about the district. Okay, so this is the district which includes Protaras, Ainapa, Paralimni. In fact, I'm going to show you on a map exactly what I'm talking about here. So this here is the way Cyprus is broken up. And for those of you living in the UK, the only way I can explain it is they are like the shires of the UK. So you've got Leicestershire, Warwickshire, Northamptonshire, that kind of thing. It's exactly the same in Cyprus. So you have the city of Paphos in Paphos. So it's like Leicester in Leicestershire, but it's Paphos in Paphos. You've got Limassol in Limassol. You've got Larnaca in Larnaca, and you have Ainapa in Famagusta. You have Protaras in Famagusta. Right. So just to split that up, and just so you know where we're looking. So we're looking Paphos, Limassol, Larnaca, the southern part of Famagusta, and the southern part of Nicosia. That's what we're going to be going through tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare. Just bring us back to me for a second. We're going to compare prices across all 5 regions, and I'm going to show you which is the most expensive, but also what's the best value, and also whether or not some of the assumptions that you've made, same assumptions I made perhaps, were actually true or are actually true. Now, before we do get into the numbers, for anybody watching this not live, put a guess in the comments. Where do you think is the cheapest? And where do you think is the most expensive? Right. Now, before I get into the data, we are going to get into it in just a second. I just want to explain, where did I get the data from? Okay. Put simply, I've spent quite a bit of time compiling land registry data over the last sort of 20 years or so. I don't mean I've spent 20 years. No, I just mean, sorry, data from the last 20 years. I clearly haven't spent 20 years doing this, right? You know what I mean? So anyway, look, the point is it's real data. It's not something that I'm just making up. So what I have done is I've done a bunch of calculations off the back of the data to try and bring it to life for you tonight. So at least that way you can kind of see what it is that we're looking at and you can get a visual representation of the price. And let's get into it. So let me just move my map out of the way. So for those of you that know Gemini, I've been using it quite a lot recently to make stuff. And this is something I've just been making, and I knocked it up for the purpose of this video. But having played with it, I'm going to probably do a bit more with it at some point in the future. But anyway, for the purpose of this video, it's going to give us exactly what we need. So there's going to be a little bit of detail, or quite a lot of detail tonight. So you're going to see me in the corner. You're going to see the stats here. What I just want to say is, look, we are looking at this one here. So solid lines 2026, 2006 to 2025. And essentially, this is hard verified historical data, and it's extracted from land registry here in Cyprus, right? So that's what we're looking at. There are some interim points here. There is basically some calculations that I've got over here, which are going to be, if you like, forecasted because we're only partway through 2026. So we're going to ignore those tonight because the forecast is just a forecast. And let's be honest, we're only partway through the year anyway, so it's not going to work properly on this chart. So we're going to go up to 2025. What we've got at the bottom, we've got Limassol, Paphos, Nicosia, Larnaca, and Famagusta. Now, again, ignore the forecasted ones. We're not going to be looking at those tonight. We're only going to be looking at the verified ones because this is based on sales data. Now, as you can see, from 2006 all the way through till about 2014, maybe even 2015, property was kind of the same across all of the regions, right? And this is at the moment, this is price per square meter. I've got a few charts to show you tonight. Price per square meter, you've got a pretty similar amount. You know, Limassol's always been relatively strong, as is Nicosia. But as you go through, you see it kind of is more or less the same within a few hundred euros. But then something happens. And in 2016, Limassol starts to pull ahead. And as we go through this, it never stops pulling ahead. So the cost per square meter just keeps going up and up and up in Limassol to the point where if you guessed Limassol was the most expensive place on the island, you'd be right. It is. And so the thing I've always found quite interesting is that Limassol is more expensive than the capital, which that baffles me because I understand it's coastal. I understand it's where a lot of the foreign money goes and the foreign investment, and that's where the businesses are. But it's a bit like saying that Leicester is more expensive than London. For me, it just baffles me, right? So Paphos is, as you can see here, Paphos is coming in at the moment the second most expensive. That's back in 2024, goes to 2025. And again, ignore the forecasted ones here. So as of last year, Limassol was sitting there at 7,000 euros per square meter on average. Paphos, 2,600, Nicosia, 1,200, Larnaca, 1,400, and Famagusta, 3,000. Now we're going to come on to why that is in a little bit. But, excuse me, but as you can see, there's quite a big difference here, just in cost per square meter, right? So now, when we come down to the average transaction size, so what does that mean? Well, it means what's the average sale price of a particular property in a particular area. Once again, you can see Limassol is vastly more expensive than the other regions. So again, about 2016, it starts to pull ahead, and we're going to go right to the end here. And the average price of a house sold in 2025 is 680,000. Now, actually, I should stress, this isn't just houses. I should have said this at the start. It isn't just houses. This is all transfers of property, whether it's an apartment, whether it's land, whether it's a villa, whether it's a commercial unit. It is all transfers of property. So when it comes to average transaction value, depending on whatever it is you're buying in these areas, Limassol is still the most expensive. But then Paphos, this interests me. Paphos is the second most expensive, right? With Famagusta then coming in third. And Limassol is, Larnaca, oh God, Nicosia, I'll just say them all and get there eventually. Nicosia is actually quite cheap by comparison. And I see this whenever I was looking at property to rent. You see some really nice property and it comes up in the capital. And you're like, oh, okay, it comes up in the capital and it's not that expensive. You seem to get a lot for your money. Now, I can't imagine ever getting a lot for my money in London. It just seems strange, right? But anyway, so the average transaction size is that. And Limassol is, you know, as you say, as you can see there, 680. If I just move this out of the way, look at the chart. You look at the difference just in the chart there. I mean, you can see the others, some of them are fairly close. So you've got Larnaca and Nicosia that are fairly close. But then Paphos is starting to pull up. You've got Famagusta there, starting to pull up. It's not pulling up as steeply as Paphos. But consistently, Limassol is just going up and up and up. Now, the next thing I want to show you here is this. This is plots sold or liquidated. It's the sales volume. What does that actually mean? Well, think of it like this. If you have a property and you want to sell it, this is the chart that shows where property is the most liquid. So how easy is it to sell a property in one of these cities versus, you know, not being able to sell it? So if you're in the UK right now, in fact, I know there's people watching that are in the UK right now that need to sell their house before they come to Cyprus. And depending on where your house is will depend on how easy and how quickly it sells. So this is what we're looking at here. Now, all of a sudden, you can see Limassol is still near the top. So I'm just going to come straight to 2025, right? Limassol is right near the top. So 7,700, that's the number of units that were sold allegedly in 2025. Like I say, this is land registry data. Nicosia is also 7,700, which is interesting when you come up here and you see the actual average transaction value is the lowest. So what's that telling us? What it's telling us is if you buy a property in Limassol or Nicosia, you're going to be able to sell it easier than if you buy a property in Famagusta. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Because when you come up to the top, Famagusta up here, when you're looking at the price per square meter, is quite high. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that if you were to buy a property in Famagusta, you're going to be paying quite a lot of money for it. But should you want to sell it at some point in the future, looking at this, it's going to be harder to sell. So, with that being said, what I want to do now is I'm going to show you the hotspots because they're going to bring some more of this to life. Now, this here, again, this is what's been calculated off the back of the data, and I've been using Gemini to work through some of these calculations, and then I fact-checked it and everything else. But anyway, what we're looking at here, this is just a 5-year compounding annual growth rate. So the compounding annual growth rate is this SAGR, or however you pronounce it, CAGR. I don't know. I'm going to call it SAGR because it sounds cool. So you've got this 5-year compounding rates here. And what does that mean? Well, if you were to look at the capital appreciation of the property and the actual growth rate you can expect from a particular property in that area, if you look in here, you're looking at Limassol, it's got a 9.9% year on year over the last 5 years. So again, just to look at this, this is between 2020 and 2025, right? Now, Famagusta, it's got a 15% year on year. Now, why is that? Why is the yield higher here in terms of income for the property and everything else than it is perhaps in Limassol? Well, because this is massively skewed by the tourist market, right? So if I would just bring the map back a second, the tourist market, when you see a lot of people going on holiday, typically they will go on holiday to Paphos, or they will go on holiday to Famagusta because they're going to go to Napa. They're going to go to Protaras down this east coast here. Yeah, maybe they'll go to Paralimni. They're going to go this side because this side is generally cheaper than the rest of it. You very rarely hear of people going to holiday in Nicosia. Right? People come to Cyprus because they want to go on the beach. So, Limassol and Larnaca, that's definitely an option as well. But typically, Paphos and Famagusta, they're your two main holiday resorts. So you come back to this and you go, right, well, actually, Famagusta is getting a higher yield. So then you go, well, if I was going to buy there, you're expecting a higher yield, but should you need to sell it, you're going to struggle. And also you're going to pay more per square meter because you're going to get a higher yield, right? That's why it's coming up here with a higher heat rating than, say, Nicosia or Larnaca. Now, Paphos is the next one. This is interesting because if I just actually go back to this and you go, right, the cost per square meter, right? So you look here, the cost per square meter, Paphos is cheaper than Famagusta. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that for the same money, you're going to get a bigger property in Paphos than you will do potentially in Famagusta, because people are spending more in Famagusta because they're expecting a higher price for holiday seasons and things like that. So then they will rent easier in the summer. So actually, if you've got a certain amount of money to spend, you will get more for your money in Paphos in terms of square meterage than you will do in Famagusta on the east side. So just coming back to this, we've got here a 10% yield in Paphos, and then Nicosia, you're only looking at like 3.3%, and then Larnaca's 3.4%. You might go, well, that's mad. Why would you go for any of them? Or why would you even consider those? Well, the reason why you'd consider Nicosia is because if you look at this here, right, powered by domestic end user buying and public utility infrastructure expansion, low volatility profile. What does that mean? Well, what it means is if you don't want to see me that close, let's move back. What it means is if you've got something that's low volatility, you think the people that have bought property in Famagusta, they are massively impacted right now when you have a conflict or a perceived conflict. Let's be honest, there isn't a conflict in Cyprus, but there's a perception of conflict, and therefore tourism is down 30%. A lot of the restaurants are empty, the hotels are empty, because people aren't coming. There's lost tourism. Now, if you're reliant on that tourism boom each summer, to make money on your property, you've got this massive bell curve where you've got your revenues peaking in the summer and then it'll tail off towards the non-holiday months. But right now, because that bell curve isn't necessarily a bell, it's kind of more flat because there's less people coming. What you're finding is that, or what you'll find is if you had a property in Famagusta, then you are not going to be making as much money as you think, and therefore it's prone to volatility. If you have a good tourist season, you'll make more money. If you have a bad tourist season, you'll make less money. Nicosia, on the other hand, because it's mainly locals, it's mainly business, as it's saying here, just go back to the screen. So as it's saying here, right, it's domestic. It's domestic and end user, right? Public utility, that kind of thing. So it is local people living there, people that don't necessarily care about living by the coast or wanting to holiday by the coast. So as a result, although the yield is slower, although the growth here is less, you look at that there, right? Nicosia, 1,200 per square meter, and you come down here to the next one, average transaction size. You've got here Nicosia, 151,000. It's small apartments. So property in Nicosia is really cheap. It doesn't grow as much, but it's cheap or cheaper. But then when you come here, if you need to sell it, you can. You can sell it just as easily as if you'd bought an expensive property in Limassol. So if you're looking at buying something that you think maybe you want to sell it, or maybe you don't want to be impacted by the volatility, but maybe you're not looking for maximum returns, well, then Nicosia could be a good bet because it's going to be stable returns. Irrespective of what the tourist market does, Nicosia is going to be stable returns, just not as big. And it's like anything in life. The bigger the risk you take, the more the financial reward. But, people only ever see the upside. And quite often they'll ignore the downside. So if you're looking at Famagusta and you go, wow, the upside's amazing, it is, until something like this kicks off with Iran. And then the perception is that Cyprus is all of a sudden a dangerous place and nobody wants to come. And then you can't fill your villa. And now you've got no income, right? So it's that. So that is what I wanted to just show you tonight on this. There's some other stuff that I've got going on here. So I've got like raw data going on, which again, I'm probably going to productize this at some point and make it easier to use, because at the minute I've got some stuff in here that isn't working. I'm going to make it into something that is usable for people. And actually, if anybody's interested in that, just put a yes in the comments or something like that, and just let me know. Because if people are interested in it, I'll try and bring it to the table so people can actually access it. Like I say, at the moment, it's quite rudimentary. It's just me playing in Gemini and doing some stuff. And anyway, but this here, again, ignore the forecasting. Scroll down. Verified data is what we want. So it's just pretty much the same as what we've just been going through. Different values of different things, but fundamentally, it's the same data. Now, let's come back to me. So what are the key takeaways for this? If you're looking to buy in Limassol, that is the high yield premium play. It's going to be the most expensive property, but you're going to be getting good returns. It's going to be easy to sell, right? Because it's where expats go, it's where nomads go, it's where the foreign money goes. It's like a lot of business happens in Limassol. So hence why it's the most expensive place on the island. If you think about Paphos, that's more like a lifestyle haven, right? It's the sort of place where you go because you want a bigger property, you want a quieter life. So it's not as busy as Limassol. This property is more spaced out. You generally have more land in Paphos for the same money. In fact, for those of you that have ever been to Limassol and then been to Paphos, you'll see that there's not really any high-rise buildings in Paphos, apart from the Soho apartment complex, and then the other Soho apartment complex that they built just in front of it, which we're talking about this today. For those of you who have seen it, there's two really tall buildings on the horizon in Paphos. I think the top ones were selling for literally millions of euros because it was the tallest apartment in Paphos. And then they built another one. It's like, there's that one there. And then they built another one just in front of it, well, next to it, but then slightly staggered forward. So anybody down this side of the building all of a sudden has just lost half of their sea view. I'd be livid if I bought one of them. But anyway, it is what it is. The point is, they're the two tallest buildings in Paphos. And as a result of that, you don't end up with, there are lots of apartments, but when you look at the buildings in Limassol, where you've got these big high-rise buildings now, the tower blocks almost, you get a lot more apartments out there, and they're all very expensive. And therefore, because they're apartments, you naturally end up with less square meterage for your property. You've got no outdoor space because it's mainly apartments. But as a result, Paphos is an area where you're going to get more for your money in terms of size, right? Famagusta. So this is the market that is highly distorted by the micro market, the tourists and everything else. So property is going to be more expensive to buy there because people are wanting to get the most money that they can. People will buy it thinking it's an investment, and then all of a sudden they can't sell it or it's harder to sell because you look at the data, there's a lot of transactions that just aren't going through like they would do in Nicosia or Limassol. So then you've got Larnaca. Now, this is kind of the strategic middle ground, is kind of what I would say on this. Now, because what it does is it kind of acts as the island's primary sort of, let's say it, like it's an economic overflow. So if people go to Limassol, maybe they don't want to be as quiet as they are in Paphos. So that they'll kind of go up and they'll go towards Larnaca. You've got another airport there and everything else. And so Larnaca itself actually feels like quite a good bet for those people wanting a little bit more life, perhaps, but aren't necessarily interested in Paphos. And the thing is, if you're wanting coastal proximity as well, then you've got it because you're still on the side. So it's not like going to Nicosia. You've got that coastal seafront. You've got the airport there. And actually, there's some places, if you want to keep going east, let's say, in the world, don't just mean on the island, then there's some places that you can only fly to from Larnaca, right? So again, it's a good bet. But what I would say is it's kind of like the most practical choice because you've got so much going on there. You can get to Nicosia in about 20 minutes. So people, quite often, if people want to work in Nicosia but live near the coast, then Larnaca is the place they go. So again, if you come back to the data, in fact, let me just bring it back to this for a second. We'll go to the volatility. Liquidated. So Famagusta's down here. Look, Larnaca, that's the third one, right? So Larnaca is quite easy to sell property in, more so than Famagusta, and it's not a million miles away. Well, Cyprus, nothing's a million miles away from anything. But you see what I mean? So Larnaca is quite a good bet because you do get people that will live in the Larnaca region and then commute to work because it's about 20 minutes to get to Nicosia, something like that. Right, and then you've got Nicosia. So you've got let's call it a domestic fortress or something. It is the place where it's lower risk, lower upfront cost, but more stability in terms of income and everything else. So again, depending on what you're looking for, it'll depend on whether or not that's the thing for you. If you're happy to take the higher risk, then you could go somewhere like Famagusta and try and maximize your returns, but your property is not going to be as liquid if you try and sell it later on. So that is what I want to talk to you about tonight. Hopefully that's been interesting. It's a bit of a shorter one tonight, but I just wanted to show you the data. Like I say, that is all land registry data, and it is all information that is out there on the internet, but I've just compiled it for tonight. Try and bring some of it to life for you, try and give you a bit of overview about the areas. If you find it useful, let me know in the comments below because I'm going to do a similar one, but I'm going to do it on rentals. And I'm going to do this for rentals around the island. It won't be in this video, but I'll do another video specifically on rentals. I'm going to do the same breakdown with rental costs and everything else. If you're looking to rent in various parts of the island, we're going to do that too. But for now, hopefully you found that useful. We will go to the live Q&A in just a moment. And I bet my like and share screen's broken as well, isn't it? Let's have a look. Killed that as well. All right. I'm going to have to, I don't know, I'll have to sing or something. Anyway, I might as well just come back to me because I've ruined it. My like and share screen's broken and got no guitars tonight. So what I'll say is if you're finding this helpful, entertaining, or any of the above, if you think somebody else can get some benefit from any of this type of content, then please just give it a like and share because I think the more people that can see this content, the more it's going to help them. And like I've said a million times now, I am trying to build the channel that didn't exist when we were looking to move to Cyprus. Okay. So I'm trying to build the channel I wanted to see 3-4 years ago, and it just wasn't there. And so I'm trying to document things now for the rest of us, for you watching this. My only ask is look, if you do think somebody gets some benefit out of it, just give it a share, right? Just give it a share. And hopefully somebody will get some use out of it. If you're liking it, give it a thumbs up. And finally, if you're not subscribed already, then please do subscribe because that will help me out. And also, it will let you know when I do go live in the future because I keep trying to do sporadic lives as and when I can. And as and when I think something's worth bringing to your attention and is actually interesting. So if you subscribe, you hit the bell notification, you'll get notified when I go live. Actually, speaking of, it would be really useful. This is not me pimping myself out now, but it would be really useful if you subscribed, if you're not already, especially because in 2 weeks' time, well, in 1 week time, on Friday, I'm going to the UK. So I'm going to be in England for about 10 days, which means a week today, I'm going to be doing this from a hotel room, which is fine. I'm going to do that from a hotel room. And in a week's time after that, so 2 weeks today, I'm literally going to be landing about, I think my wife said 10 o'clock my time. So I'd already be well into this. So what I'm going to do, because I'm rock and roll, I'm going to roll in off the airplane, going to come in here, and I'm going to fire this up at whatever time I get in. Now, it could be about 11:30 my time, but I'm still going to fire it up and I'm still going to talk to you about something. But I don't know exactly when that's going to be, because if the plane's late, then I'm going to be late. And I've said to my wife, I wanted to go live every single week. I'm going to do it for at least a year. I started in October, so I want to go live every single week. And that's what I've been doing so far. I've not missed a week. Even when I was on the airplane, did a video, played it, and I was trying to chat in the comments. So I want to go live in 2 weeks' time. I just don't know when it will be. But if you're subscribed and you've hit the notification, then that night when I go live, you'll get notified, be like, hey, Mark's live. And then you'll be like, oh, that idiot. Turn me off, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know and put that out there. So we're going to go over to the questions. Normally I'd have a drink, right? I'd have a drink while the like and share screen's on, and I could hide behind it, but I can't. So I'm going to drink while I'm reading questions. But we're going to go to the live Q&A now, and we're going to see who's on. We're going to see what's on, and we'll answer some questions. So, Philip Shaw, hi. Hi, Philip. I hope you're well. We've got Philip Prowlands. Good evening, Mark, from a cloudy part of Wales. Yeah, well, like I say, I'm hoping it's going to be sunny by the time we get back. I really would like it to be sunny by the time I come back. So, yeah, if you can all start doing rain dances, that'll be awesome. And then we'll have a sun dance instead. Philip Shaw, Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. Okay. Just say my name, Mark. Lee Clark. Hey, Lee. Evening, Mark. Evening, Lee. Evening, Lou, if you're watching, which clearly you are, because you've said evening, Mark. Michael Cummings, evening, Mark. Evening, Mike. Evening, Joanne, if you're watching as well. Alex Glass, evening all. Evening, Alex. Evening, Emma, if you're there. I've lost where I'm going. Cliffy, evening, Mark. Evening, Cliffy. That's Karen, right? If I remember rightly, Karen. Yeah, okay. My username is Jeff. Good evening, Mark. Evening, Jeff. My name is Jeff. Stuart Bradley. Hey, Mr. T. Hey, Stuart. Good to have you on. Funky stuff. Cool. Path to Paphos. Oh, cool. Evening, Mark. Hope you and the family are well. Yeah, evening, Brian. Good to have you on. And we're doing all right, thanks. Yeah, doing okay. Stuart Bradley. Yes. What was the question? What did I ask you, Stuart? I can't remember the question. Just said yes. Philip, good info. I'm glad you liked it. Thanks, Philip. Appreciate the feedback. Ted, hi, Mark. Just logged in. Nice topic. We'll watch it back later. Cool. I'm glad. Thanks, Ted. Alex, overlaying rental yield data would be interesting, but then again, I'm a property geek. Yeah, well, so I'll get there. Because I'm gonna look at this in a couple of different ways, Alex. There's multiple ways to look at property, right? You can look at it, you want to buy to live. You can look at it, you want to buy to invest. Obviously, if you're wanting to buy to live, some of what I've spoken about tonight is going to be totally different, because you might decide that you want to live in Famagusta and you don't care about being able to sell it. If that's your dream home and everything else in the dream location, then you just go and live there, and that's fine. If you're looking at trying to make money off of it and it's an income as opposed to, it's an asset that generates money rather than something you just live in, then it's going to change your decisions. Renting is exactly the same. If you're looking to rent a place, the thing that you choose to rent and live in will probably be different to the thing you choose to rent and make money. So there's going to be 2 rental videos that will come in due course. There's going to be one a little bit like tonight, and I'm going to show you the rental costs should you want to live. But then I'll try and do something where we can overlay the rental costs, as you've just said, in terms of purchasing costs. So then you can see, the rents versus purchasing price, and it's going to give a bit of a heat map as to where you can invest on the island. So hopefully that's going to be helpful. But like I say, it's going to come in due course anyway. Where we got to? That's in May. Evening, Mark, from sunny England. Went by a funny little place called Hinckley yesterday. Loom forward to the rental. Loom forward to the rental chat. I don't understand that. Oh, I'm going to assume you meant to say looking forward to the rental chat. That'll just stroke my ego. Oh, look for. Okay, there you said it in the next one. Look forward to the rental chat. Yes. No, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Keith, hope you and Sarah are well. And what are we doing past Hinckley? We're going to be in Hinckley in about a week's time, or around that area anyway. Lee, how about doing a meetup back here? Evening, Lee. Evening, Kelly. You know what? I would love to, but the thing is, this trip is not about me. It's not even about work. Normally, I come back for work, but this time it's my son's birthday. He's turning 9. So he turns 9. And rather than doing a party in Cyprus, which is what he's done for the last 2 years, he wanted to go and celebrate with his old friends back in the UK. So we're going back to the UK. We're going to be spending like 3 days, I think it is, in London. And we're just going to be doing some really cool stuff there. And we're going to be doing things that you can't typically do in Cyprus. And you'll find this out if you've got young kids and you do come to Cyprus. What you'll find is that you run out of things to do pretty quickly. You know, everybody, you come here on holiday for 2 weeks and everybody wants to swim and everybody wants to go to the beach, and that's fine when you're here on holiday. But when you live here, like we have a pool outside, and we were out in the pool tonight. Well, earlier on this afternoon, about 5 o'clock, me and my boy went in. And it was nice, and it was really nice. The water's warmed up now, so the water was about 30 degrees earlier, and it's getting to it's very nice temperature now. But you don't use it as much as you think. Like, it's great when his friends come around, they'll just have a play date and they'll play in the pool. And if he goes around to his friend's house, they'll play in the pool, stuff like that. But otherwise, you don't really do much. There's not a lot else to do other than swim. So you go to the water park, you go to the beach. We've got one bowling alley in Paphos, and I think there's another one in various parts of the island. You know, cinemas are quite rare. And the one in Paphos is rubbish anyway. Don't go to it. If you want to go to the cinema and have an actual cinema experience, we went to one in Larnaca, and that was really good. It actually sounded like a cinema. The Paphos one, the sound was rubbish. And I like to feel explosions in my chest when an explosion happens on the screen. And this, it was there was no bass to it. It was just terrible. You come home and the actual sound system is better at home than it is in the cinema. But the point is that there isn't a huge amount of stuff to do here, like the variety you get in the UK. So we're going to go to London. We're going to go to Sea Life Centre. We're going to go to, ironic, isn't it? You live on an island. We're going to go to the Sea Life Centre. You could go on a glass bottom boat, but we're going to go Sea Life Centre. We're going to go to, I think it's Chessington's World of Adventures, because there's no theme parks really on the island. I mean, there's a few things with roller coasters, but not like Alton Towers or Chessington or anything like that. We don't have it here. So we're going to do stuff like that. And then we're going to go up to the Midlands. We're going to see his friends there, and we're staying with various people for various days. And so it's going to be, honestly, I'm going to come back from the UK and I'm going to feel like I need a holiday. And this is the holiday, or it's a holiday. So I'm just going to feel like I need a holiday. This is a really long way of saying, Lee, that I don't really have time this trip, because although it's a social trip, it's very regimented and all planned out. But in the future, we could do a Cyprus Unfiltered meetup in Hinckley. Let's go somewhere better than Hinckley. Let's not go to Hinckley. I don't know. Let's not go Leicester either. I don't know. We could do something. But yes, if you are, or anybody else is in Cyprus, the first Saturday of the month is when we're doing the meetups here. We did one a couple of weeks back, and I'm going to intend to do them first Saturday of the month, every month, for as long as people want to turn up. So that's what we're going to do. But yeah, anyway, interesting point, but it probably won't happen this trip, unfortunately. Dan Technic, hi, Natalie and Andy watching. Hi, Natalie and Andy, good to have you on. I think the red soil villages near Paralimni are good value. Also, Larnaca is good, especially around Pavola and Mazotos. Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be property. There's always going to be edge cases to any of this. And what I don't know, I don't have enough local knowledge to understand why that is. So, for instance, in Limassol, as you've seen tonight, is the most expensive area on the island for various reasons. However, even now, when I'm looking to rent property, or I'm looking at the rental prices in Paphos, because you're on Facebook Marketplace or you're on Bazaraki, places like that, where you've not put any filter criterion, you just search maybe 3-bed villa or 4-bed villa, and you're finding stuff. I keep finding villas that look really good value, and they're in Limassol. And you think, well, hang on a minute, Limassol is supposed to be more expensive, yet they look better and nicer and cheaper than Paphos. But if I just come back to the map, right, as you can see, Limassol covers a massive area. Paphos covers a massive area. What you'll quite often find is you'll find property that is great to rent and cheap to rent in Paphos, but then it's up here, it's near Polis. And typically, property up there is cheaper because it's further away from everything. So it might be that the property I keep seeing in Limassol is, up here in the Troodos Mountains as opposed to down here near the city. And it could be the same, as you're saying there. Like, so what are they called? It's, I've lost it. Oh, the chat's moved. Hang on a minute. Where is it? The Red Soil Village near Paralimni. Oh, good. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So I'll tell you what, let's just do something. Let's go. Oh, open it over there. Don't open it over there. Let's go over there. There we go. I'm going to close this one down. Right. Okay, we are in a different country tonight. Where are we? Iceland, because that's where my VPN is currently set to. Right. So let's come down here. What was the place you said? Because I just want to find it now. Pervolia. Let's have a look. Let's keep it interactive. Pervolia. Oh, wow. That's interesting. So Kitty is lovely. We liked Kitty. Kitty's very nice. Pavolia is interesting though. If you're saying that's cheaper. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. If anybody's thinking about moving to the Larnaca region, then have a look at Pavolia. Apparently that's cheaper. But yeah, Kitty's very nice. I know somebody that's now moved there or moving there. But when we said we considered Larnaca, when we were looking at this in the trial living, it was actually around the Kitty area that we were liking. So again, Larnaca the region, not necessarily Larnaca the city. So yeah. And the red soil comment, by the way, just if anybody is interested, the red soil comment talks about this in another video. But if I go to the satellite view, you end up with, if I can kind of see it here, see like how the soil is kind of red on the fields. And so when you look at this, I'll just drop the little, I'm dropping down. Okay, just drop them here. Ah, that's rubbish view, isn't it? Right, that didn't work. Anyway, did it in one of the other videos. But point is, the soil is red because of the way, or because it's either copper or iron in the soil. And it's where a lot of the Cypriot potatoes come from. And that's why they taste so good, because you have these red potatoes and they're amazing. And they're really good. And they come from that side of the island. So cool. Right, I'll stop talking about potatoes now. This is thrilling stuff, I can tell. Going to Stratford on, okay, you're going to Stratford on Avon and Henley and Arden from Nottingham for a day out. Yeah, Arden's nice actually. There's a beautiful little what's it? I'm sure it's like near a canal or something. But there's a great little restaurant there. Anyway, liked it there. Right, let me just get rid of that. Okay. Alex, Pixar experience in London is a blast. Oh, cool. So I don't know about that actually, Alex, but I don't know if this is lucky or unlucky, but my son is not big into Disney, which means he's not yet going, Daddy, Daddy's Disneyland, which is really good because it's really expensive and it's in America and not in Europe. So yeah, but no, I don't know. Yeah, okay. I'll have a think. See if it's something he'd be interested in. He likes Toy Story, but again, he's not big into Disney or Pixar really. If there was a Fortnite experience, he'd be all over it. Ted, related to the topic, do you have experience with setting up a bank account from abroad? Now working on it to buy a property, and the process and documentation you have to provide is pretty daunting. Okay, Ted, so it depends on the bank account. I assume you're talking about either Bank of Cyprus or Hellenic or Eurobank, which was Hellenic, I think. I'm assuming you're talking about a local bank on the island as opposed to something like Revolut. Revolut, you can set up from anywhere. It's an absolute doddle. I recommend everybody has a Revolut account or at least a Wise account or something like that, because when you're moving money, if you're earning money in pounds and you're moving it out to Cyprus, you're going to be doing a lot of conversions between pounds and euros. And they're going to give you a much better exchange rate than any of the mainstream banks like HSBC, First Direct, Bank of Cyprus. You're going to get a much better rate using Wise or Revolut to transfer and convert money. But I'm going to assume, for the purpose of this, that you're talking about opening an account on the island for Bank of Cyprus or somewhere like that. Now, when we came and did this in 2023, you could only open an account online if you'd already got something, if you're already resident here, because you needed to provide proof of address and things like that. I believe it might have changed now. And I'm saying that because I've not had to open an account remotely since we got here, because we did it when we got here. But if what you're saying is true and it is, they're asking for a lot of paperwork, that won't be just because it's online. When we came to open an account here for residency, because we needed to have it for residency, it was like a mountain of paperwork. You had to prove so much stuff. And the crazy thing is, right, so for those of you that are self-employed in the UK and paying yourself a dividend or whatever, when I was declaring my income in the Bank of Cyprus here, what I learned was, I can't remember how I learned this, but if you declared an income of more than 75 grand, it's like tips over. If you declare an income of more than 75 grand, all of a sudden they get very interested and you have to provide a load more paperwork. So my income dropped, had to provide less paperwork. So the point is that you can, yeah, I mean, obviously don't lie, but if you're taking dividends or whatever, whatever your tax return state in the UK is kind of what you're going to have to go with. But fundamentally, what they wanted to see my contract value for clients, right? That's what they wanted to see. But then I managed to talk them down and go, no, but I'm only really earning this. I'm on minimum wage. So they're like, okay, cool. And I was like, no, actually, I'm not really on minimum wage because you needed to be above a certain amount as well. So anyway, that's kind of how that went, and it's a faff. Like you say, a lot of paperwork. Revolut was so easy for us, from a business banking account. I mean, I did a video on banking, and Revolut took me maybe a day or two. I think it was compared to the 9 or so visits that I had with the Bank of Cyprus. In fact, actually, I don't know if I've told you guys this story to round it all off. So I got so wound up in the Bank of Cyprus about a month ago. I kept saying at the time that I should probably close my account down. I've got a business account. I've never been able to access it, never been able to use it. And I went to close it down. And I went in. And while we were there, so I managed to close it down. That was fairly straightforward. But I had to pay 50 euros to close the account, right? Because even though I could never access it, I'd put money in the account to open it. I think it was about like 100 euros or something in there to open the thing. And then there's all the banking fees that had been accruing over the however long I'd had it. And it put me to minus 50 euros in debt because I hadn't used it and the charges were still coming out. So in order to actually close it, I had to pay for the banking fees that were due, even though they could see that the account had never been used really apart from that. Literally, all the account got used for was to pay them. That was it. The business bank account did nothing. So I closed that, paid 50 euros, whatever it was, closed that. But then we decided, actually, you know what? We should probably update the address from our old address to the new address. Now, again, I don't really use the Bank of Cyprus much, but we hadn't moved the addresses in a year because we don't do anything with the bank. And it was kind of one of those things where we should probably do it, but we never did. And it's not like they were going to send us new cards out or anything like that because, they were still in date and everything. So we thought, we've got time. We'll just do it next time. Next time it's convenient. And so we did. It was convenient. A year later, we started trying to move the accounts. Anyway, I'm telling them the new address and they're saying, you need to provide proof of your address. Okay, sure, no problem. Here's the rental contract. Yeah, that doesn't prove your address. That's just a rental contract. Well, yeah, but look, it's got my name on it. Yeah, but that doesn't really prove your address. You need to show us a utility bill as well. Okay, cool. Here's a utility bill from CETA. Oh, but it's a mobile. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it needs to be an internet bill from CETA. Oh, well, I don't have one of those. I don't have internet with CETA. I have internet with Ecotech. Okay. I can show you my Ecotech bill. That's internet. No, we don't accept Ecotech. Why? Because it's not CETA. What? So anyway, I said, okay, well, and they were trying to be helpful. They're like, oh, or just show us your electric bill. Don't have an electric bill. What do you mean? Well, I do, but it's all in the landlord's name because you have solar panels and therefore it stays with the landlord. What about a water bill? No, we just pay them directly too. Okay, so you don't have a utility bill in your name? Yes, I do. I have the internet, or we can't accept the internet. And we went around in circles, and I was losing my shit. I was getting really wound up because of the stupidity of it. And I just literally in the bank, like my wife was calming me down because I'm patient. I'm a very patient guy. Really, I don't have patience for stupidity. I don't have patience for stupid processes that just make life difficult. And I got so wound up with him. I said, I tell you what, do you really think that I'm going to try and change the mail to somewhere that I don't live? And they were like, well, I'm sorry, sir, we can't help you. I said, that's right. So I tell you what, do me a favor. Can you update my banking address? Sorry, can you update my banking profile to not send me anything to my home address? And I'll just leave it in the old address. And they were like, well, we could do that, but then it's not going to be your real address, is it? I was like, but you won't accept my new address. I'm trying to tell you where I live and you won't listen to where I live. And I was just getting so wound up. I was like, if you won't listen to where I live and you won't change it, what am I supposed to do? I was just like, that. So anyway, what did we do? I'm trying to think how we actually resolved it. Oh, I know. Revolut. Revolut saved the day. They accepted my Revolut proof of address. So I had to go onto my app on Revolut to show them that's where I live. And I felt so freaking happy. I was like, Revolut, see, don't use Bank of Cyprus. Anyway, I managed to move my address. Banking is a nightmare in Cyprus. Stacks of paperwork. To answer the question, let's bring it back around to you guys. I've never done it remotely. I think you can do it remotely, but I thought that to open a bank account here, you need to have an address that's registered to your name, which might be why you struggle if you don't yet move here. If you've got a rental agreement in your name and you've already done that bit, you're probably okay because then you can use that to get your residency. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Getting very irate with that one. Where do we get to? Karen, right. I've noticed since looking at properties since a year that properties in Paphos are taking a long while to sell. It depends on the property. It does depend on the property because, again, I'm going to come back to this one. Where are we gone? Plot sold, liquidated. So if you look here, I mean, Paphos is the second lowest. It depends what people want. If you've bought a big villa in Paphos, typically they're bigger properties, and you come back up to the average transaction value. All right. Oh, no, not that one. This one here. So the transaction value is the second highest on the island. So it's the second highest on the island. You've got bigger properties quite often, and it's going to be for a specific type of market. And so depending on who's buying, like a lot of the people who come to Paphos are either retired or they want a bit of a quieter life. And so maybe by their nature, they might take longer to sell because, looking at this here, they're taking the second longest to sell. It's not as liquid as the other areas. So it doesn't surprise me in what you're saying, and data supports what you're saying. But, what this doesn't show is, yes, they sold less units, but what it doesn't show, and I'm working on this, is how long a property was on the market. Now, I'm not there yet. I'm working on some stuff, but to find out how long a property's been on the market, that will be quite interesting because that's going to give us a whole new lens to see actually what are there specific areas of Paphos which sell like hotcakes? Are there specific areas that sell like turds? Don't know. But that's what we're going to try and get to anyway. Philip, is there a maximum limit you can rent a property? Not sure I understand the question, Philip. Are you talking about price? If you're talking about price, it's going to be whatever people are prepared to pay, like anything in property. It's only worth what people are prepared to pay for it. So if you're talking about price, I mean, there's definitely not a limit to greed. There was a house that was put on the market. It was only a 3-bed, 2 or 3-bed, had a sea view, same sea view that we had. We were paying $2,000 a month for a rental. Fair enough. It was old. It was, say old. I mean, everything in there was old. In fact, if you saw the heating video, it's the one that I was showing you a little bit there, and lovely views and everything. But it was an older property, and we had the same view as this other house. Ours was $2,000 a month. His went on the market $10,000 a month. Now, if somebody's silly enough to pay $10,000 a month for that, then they'll get $10,000 a month. My guess is somebody didn't pay $10,000 a month for that, and they probably won't. So, is there an upper limit on price? It's really governed by what people are prepared to pay. Also, rental prices seem to be steadily increases again from what I was seeing last year. Yes. In fact, I was having a conversation about this today. So the house that we're in right now, I won't give you the exact figures, but the house that we're in right now, you may recall if you watched one of my property videos previously that the reason why we left our first house was because the landlord tried to do the dirty on us a little bit, and they tried to jack the rent 50%. Now, I like to think I'm a nice guy, but I don't suffer fools gladly in that if somebody's trying to rip me off, somebody's trying to pull the wool over my eyes, I don't have time for you. I'll make a lot of time for a lot of people, but if somebody's going out of their way to try and rip me off, you just go away. I'm not interested. And the fact that they tried to jack the rent 50% after I was talking about, and we were literally measuring up, I was going to spend 3 or 4 grand on his property to build an office downstairs. And that was before he was like going to jack the rent 50%. And I think he thought, oh, well, it's going to be a 4-bedroom house now, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but I'm going to pay for that room. I was going to upgrade his property. And they still tried to jack the rent 50%. So we left. And when we got this house, I specifically asked for a 2-year contract. I didn't want to have to move again. So I wanted a 2-year contract. Typically, contracts on the island, they're 12 months instead of what used to be 6 months in the UK. Now because of the writer's rents bill, it's now like a month or 2 months at a time. But yeah, so I asked for a 2-year contract out here. And literally, as we were coming up to the first renewal, my landlord here told me the rent's going to go up 7%. And I'm like, well, then what's the point of a contract? Because if we're going to have a contract and then you're still going to try and put the rent up, then fine, I will just go again. Now, my agent that I use to find this place, I have a lot of time for them, I have a lot of respect for them, but I know for a fact that they are friends with the landlord here. And so what I didn't want to do was to put the agent in a awkward position. So I called him to say, just to make you aware, this is what's happened. The landlord wants to put the rent up 7% inside of the contract. Now, if she wants to do that, fine. She's breaking the contract first. We will then just go. No problem. If you're going to welch on the contract, we will just go and that's it, done. And he says, it's not going to come to that. Let me talk to her. If you want, I'll talk to her and, we'll push back. And I said, no, I'll talk to her first. And if we don't get anywhere, then, maybe you can have a go. And he's like, Mark, you're not going to be paying the extra 7%. It's like, I'll talk to her. He said, if you don't get anywhere with her, I'm going to talk to her. So, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth damn it, I should turn the VPN off. It's because of this VPN, I think. Okay, left that on. Anyway, so where did I get to? YouTube's error has distracted me. It's great when it's live, isn't it? I lose my train of thought and there's nobody here to tell me what I was talking about. Rentals, yes. So, long story short, she didn't put the rent up. She was like, okay, cool, yeah, it's within contracts, fine, we'll leave it as is. But while I was talking to the agent, he told me that, he says, Mark, totally understand it, totally respect it. If you need to go, you want to go, that's fine. No hard feelings from him. But he did say, if you do leave, he says, there's not a problem from his perspective, but he said that property that you're in right now, if you leave, he says he'll put it back on the market because obviously he'll market the landlord's property again for them. And it will be 1,200 euros more than what we pay right now. So the property that we're in essence, has gone up 1,200 euros inside of 12 months. So yes, property has gone up in the last year and it continues to go up. This is the thing, right? You come back to the charts and I know, that's a big, go away, right? You go back to the charts here and as you can see, like property prices, that's per square meter, but the average price is going up to buy. So naturally, if it's more expensive to buy, the rents are going to go up because people have got to spend more money and they've got to put the rents up to break even. Plus, you've got an influx of digital nomads that are coming to the island. You've got an influx of people that can work remotely, earning money from non-Cypriot clients. Typically will have more money and they can afford to pay the rent. So somebody probably paid that guy 10 grand a month to live there. I wouldn't, but somebody's clearly paid him 10 grand a month. It's not in the market anymore. So yeah, it's nuts. Rents are going up and it is expensive. That's why I didn't mind locking it in for 2 years because I thought, well, if I lock it in for 2 years, I don't get somebody going, well, we're just gonna take it back and jack the price or whatever, So that's why, if you are coming out to rent, I know a 2-year contract seems a bit daunting, but if you know the area, it's not the worst thing in the world because it keeps you secure. You're isolated from that price jump that can inevitably come. Oh, okay, right. Where we got to? Alex, Eurobank at least give you a comprehensive list of required docs to open an account, including proof of funds, utility bill, rental agreement. Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Bank of Cyprus, Alex, as well, they do. You can go onto their website. In fact, I'm sure I did this in the banking video. You go onto their website and it tells you about loads of stuff. In fact, should I do it now? Bank of Cyprus. Just have a quick look because I'm sure they tell you as well. And open an account. There was something. I'm sure I've seen this. Maybe I won't waste your time with it now. There's definitely something when you're trying to open an account. See, I'm already impatient. I'm like, this website's rubbish. Why can't I just see open an account? I know it's my fault. Quick account. I just can't see for looking, can I? No. Okay, go back and watch my banking video. Bank of Cyprus also talk about what you need, and I seem to recall even the list it gave you though it was telling you what you needed and it was contradictory. That's the problem. So what I found with local banks, and to be fair, I haven't used Eurobank, but what I found Bank of Cyprus is it's very much dependent on the branch you get as to how helpful or awkward they will be. So you have these processes that are in place, and I think if you know somebody, they'll be less awkward. So to be fair, my personal bank account was actually quite easy because the guy that helped me with residency, the guy that helped me set up my business, he knew the guy in the bank and he put us in touch. And every time the bank felt like they were going a bit silly, I called our guy and literally I could pass the phone over and they had a chat and then it was all good again. So he helped me with a lot of things. But if you go onto Facebook and you look at the Facebook groups, there are people that love Bank of Cyprus. There are people that hate Hellenic or Eurobank. Equally, there are people that love Hellenic Bank and there are people that hate Bank of Cyprus. There will always be good and bad. But what seems to be the case is that if you've had a bad experience, if you want to go to Bank of Cyprus, I'm telling you my stories, I'm telling you my experience. If somebody wants to go to Bank of Cyprus, fine, your branch could be awesome. My branch wasn't, but your branch could be awesome. If you're trying to do business banking, you might have the best branch on the island. Same with Hellenic Bank. If you've got something that you want to use, or sorry, Eurobank, if you've got something that you want to use and you've got everybody else around you saying how good it is, well then try their branch instead of whatever branch you're going to if you're getting a bad experience, because it can be branch dependent. Ted, haha, I hit a nerve. Bank of Cyprus via my lawyer. I don't think Revolut will work, unfortunately. Oh well. Yeah, you can tell I like Bank of Cyprus, right? Just right. Alex, 300,000 plus VAT new builds for residency may impact the time to sell depending on when you start the clock. Just see what you mean. 300,000 plus VAT new builds for residency may impact the time to sell depending on when you start the clock. Not sure I understand the statement, to be honest, Alex. Oh, yes, I do. I get what you're saying. So basically, if you're buying something off plan, and okay, I understand what you're saying now. If you're buying something off plan, then how long does it take to sell that by the time you get your title deeds and everything else? Yeah, it's a good point. Actually, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe that is a factor. I'd have to look into the data actually to see if that covered that, because in my head it was second-hand properties, like resale properties, as opposed to brand new. But it could, if it is taken into account, brand new properties sold off plan, you're probably right. But then that said, people that do buy off plan, they pay in stages anyway, so they wouldn't necessarily pay the full amount up front. So yeah, like you say, as you say, it depends when to start the clock. Alex, been looking at rentals last couple of weeks. I'd say Paphos pricing has cooled since March. Could be the Trump Iran factor. Yeah, it could be, because there's less. What will happen is, if they were normally booked out now by Airbnbs or as an Airbnb, what you might find is that they are just trying to get some longer term tenants in and they don't want the volatility that comes with the tourist market. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, actually, just on that point, normally this time of year, property starts to go up in price because if they haven't rented it by now, then they'll just stick it on the Airbnb market. And so you end up with a lot less stock this time of year because they'll just all put it on Airbnb. But then come September, October, when the tourist season's dying down, you got a better chance of a better deal, is certainly from what I've seen anyway. Philip, not price, length of time anyone can rent a property, i.e. i.e. 1 year, 2 year. Okay, right. So the minimum length typically on the island is a 1 year contract. That's the normal length. Any contract you sign for a rental is typically 1 year. Can you get less? You can, I think. From what I've seen, people can. It's a bit like in the UK. It's like the ASTs, when they were a thing up until about a month ago, used to be a minimum 6 months. But if you found a landlord that was prepared to do a 3 month agreement, if you had it all signed off with solicitors or whatever else, kind of, if you could rent somewhere shorter term, you could potentially do it as a license rather than an AST or whatever. I know that's not always the case, but certainly out here, the standard is 1 year. But if you found a landlord where you said, I only need to be able to stay for 3 months or whatever, then it's in between an Airbnb and a long-term let. When you've got digital nomads that are landing on the island for 3 months or 6 months and then going off somewhere else and they're staying somewhere else, they're definitely living somewhere. And I guess they're not paying Airbnb prices. So basically the standard is a year, can be two. Some landlords will insist on a 2-year contract. I insisted on a 2-year contract this time, as you just heard tonight. But be prepared to sign up to a year's contract is kind of what I would say. But in terms of maximum time, no. One of our old neighbours, they had rented a house, and I think it was a German family. Could be wrong. It doesn't matter anyway. But they were renting his house long term. They'd signed a 10-year contract. Like, wow, that's insane. But anyway, they signed a 10-year contract to rent this house. And as a result, they got it at a much cheaper price. And because they got it at a cheaper price and they knew they were going to be there for the next decade, they were also upgrading the house. So the landlord was happy because he's got a tenant for 10 years. He's got somebody that's upgrading his house along the way. So they don't mind spending money on the house because they're going to get the benefit of it for the next, for the next decade. And yeah, there's no maximum. It's just whatever people are prepared to sign up to. I personally wouldn't do a 10-year lease, but that's just me. Karen, can you stipulate in a rental contract about any likely increases in the rent at the end of your term? Yeah, absolutely you can. And so this is the point, is that you could say at the end of the contract, you could say for any renewals, it goes up X amount. Now, apparently 7% is the standard on the island because my landlord said, oh, but everybody puts it up 7% in a year. Well, you might do, but if your contract says it's a fixed price for 2 years, then you're not. that was the logic I took. My first landlord, we'd gone through the first 12 months and then we were on to a monthly rolling. So he just tried to jack the price anyway. Like, nah, we're going. So yeah, if you've got a property that you want to rent out and you're looking to maximize returns, you could absolutely put that in the contract. But then it comes down to, do you like the tenant? Do you want to be charging them more or whatever? You know, like if you've got good tenants, what's an extra 7%? And all right, it could be quite a lot, but you know, I've always worked on the basis if you've got a good tenant, try and look after your tenants. They're looking after your house and everything else, you know. So you could put it into the contract. I guess it's then down to you as to whether or not you want to action it, you know. But yeah, you could absolutely put it into the contract if you wanted to. What I would say is check your contract because you might find that a landlord puts it into your contract. So if they've got a 10% increase at the end of the contract, then, you know, just be prepared to expect it. Brian, nothing to do in Paphos. You've absolutely never lived in Carlisle. Paphos is positively cosmopolitan in comparison. No, so okay. I'm not saying there's nothing to do in Paphos. What I am saying though is that an 8-year-old has a much more limited set of things to do if you take out of the equation the beach, the water park, and your own swimming pool. There's not a lot left. You can go to Cosmic Bowling. You can go to Playland. You can go to Cliff Social, which is a bar, but they've got a little playground at the back. I'm already out of ideas. If you're in Paphos and you're watching this, where do you take your kids? If they are 8 years old, 9 years old, where do you take your kids? And what do they do? If you rule out the water park, rule out the beaches, rule out your own pool if you've got one. There's only so many times you can go to the zoo. So I don't know. This is like I'm drawing a blank now. If somebody asked me the questions tonight, what can my kids do in Paphos? I would struggle. Whereas if you ask me what can the kids do in Leicestershire, well, there's a whole bunch of things I can tell you about in Leicestershire, but you know, it depends. The thing is, Cyprus is very much the whole of Cyprus is pretty much an archaeological site. So it's great for history, but an 8-year-old's not interested in history. Not yet, or at least not to that level. You know, they look at it for a little bit and then that's it. In fact, my son was interested in history when we went to, what's it called? Korean. I went to the museum in Korea, and of course, me and my wife are looking around intently, looking at all of this old stuff. And when I say old, I'm sure there was things there like 2,000 years BC. And I think the oldest thing I saw was like 4,000 years BC. It was like this rock. My son was just being himself. And the thing is, to be fair, I think the rock was outside, and it looked like it's just part of the garden. And my son starts climbing on it, and I'm like, it's 4,000 years old. Get off the rock. But it was, yeah, I mean, it's nuts. But the thing is, there's less to do is kind of what I'm saying. So if you are moving here with kids, you'll find that, you know, they run out of things to do quickly. And then even though you've got a pool outside, you know, it all becomes repetitive. You know, it becomes a new baseline for the norm. It's great for the first 6 months, 12 months. And then you get used to it. It's just a way of life and you want something more engaging to do. So, where do we get to? Alex, spot on. Short-term rental market is hurting. Yeah, it is. I think I don't know how they work this out, but they reckon that just from the Israeli market alone, they're about 33 million down. I don't know how they figure that out, unless they're working on last year, like the number of people that were, I don't know, maybe it's the amount of Israeli passports that were passing through borders. I don't know, but apparently it's 33 million euros down this year just as a result, and it's because this one thing happened in March and it scared everybody to death, and you know it's just a massive overreaction. But then the media doesn't help. Although that said, for those of you that aren't in Paphos at the moment, we were sat out having dinner earlier on, and I'm not joking, a fighter jet was flying past. And it was freaking loud, but it was awesome to see. Like you're just seeing fighter jet. You're sitting there eating your dinner, a fighter jet just comes past. You're like, oh, okay, interesting. And you don't see that very often, but well, at least you didn't in the UK, unless you live like up in Lake Districts and somewhere like that. You used to see them there. They've got the bases, but yeah, like it's just fighter jets patrolling the island actually makes you feel more safe than unsafe. Because you're being looked after. So yeah. Not by the UK, of course. Their boat broke down, but by everybody, by the rest of Europe, you're being looked after. Alex, rental contracts don't seem to be standardized. Everything negotiable. Exactly. Yeah. I've seen landlords asking for 12 months rent up front. We didn't take that property. No, you're right, Alex. And you're absolutely right, actually. And up until recently, people would take a discount for cash, right? So my first landlord, he was very open about the fact that he hadn't paid tax in about 24, 25 years. And you kind of think, oh, well, your tax affairs is not my problem. If you want cash and I want to live in that house, I kind of have to go by your rules. But as a result of that, the laws are changing in July. So I think it's next month, where if your rent is more than £500, it has to be via a bank transfer now. So landlords are not allowed to take cash. Now, I don't know how that's going to work because some landlords will only take cash. The thing that you'll need to watch if you're looking at coming out here and you're looking to rent, if you've got a landlord that will only take cash and you think to yourself, well, it's fine, I will just pay him cash, just shut him up, whatever, just pay him cash and it'll be fine. Your rental contract at that point is then in question. Your rental agreement is in question. Now, you might say inherently, well, that's not the worst thing in the world. If anything happens, you could just move house. True, until you realize that your residency is dependent on it. You need to have a proper rental agreement, a proper rental contract, and a place of residence for you to be able to get your residency permit, whether it be a pink slip or a yellow slip. They don't care, or the immigration department do not care whether or not your landlord's paying tax. They do care if you don't have a legally binding contract. Now, my understanding is that if you are paying cash and you've got a contract which stipulates cash payments, or even if it doesn't, I think now, so it's not about stipulating cash or bank transfer. There should be banking details in the contract for you to be able to pay. If they're expecting cash payments, like our first contract didn't have anything in there like that. You see, our second one does, but the first one didn't. So we couldn't even pay him with bank transfers if we wanted. So you then run that past immigration. If your contract doesn't have bank details in there, you're gonna have a hard time proving that you're not paying him cash. So just something to bear in mind. If you are looking to move out here, you've got a rental contract that isn't necessarily going to have those details in. Just double check what you're going to need, because you could screw yourself on residency. Just something to bear in mind. But yeah, as Alex has said, everything's up for negotiation. You can negotiate furniture in and out. You'll see some properties where they've got two prices, one fully furnished, one part furnished. If you go for a fully furnished or part furnished, it's generally because they don't want to put their furniture somewhere. So we've looked at some properties that were fully furnished, and well, were they fully? Yeah, they were fully furnished. And you look at the sofas and they're old and dusty, and you look at the furniture and you go, if we wanted to take that out and just put our own sofa in, can we? Or our own beds? And they're like, no, it has to stay with the property. Like, so then you don't end up renting that property because they won't take the furniture out and you're stuck with these antiques. So anyway, yeah, everything's up for negotiation and you shouldn't be afraid to ask. That's what I would say there. Sorry, guys, I need a drink. I'd normally go back to the like and share screen at this point. I'm going to take a break, but by taking a break, I can't put my music on because I've broken it. So you can watch me drink instead. Still cold. Should go to a commercial. Boozio flask, still good. I don't have an affiliate link. I don't have an Amazon affiliate link, so go and buy one anyway. They're great. I get nothing from it. Boozio, I'm sure it's probably Chinese, but it's great. Love it. Mm. Excuse me. Right. What I will say, if you just imagine there's guitar music playing right now, I will just say what I would normally say, which is if you're finding this useful, helpful, entertaining in any way, please give it a like and share, because I'm trying to help as many people as I can. If you think somebody on Facebook or wherever will get benefit from seeing this video or any of the other videos, then share it in groups. Helps me out a lot because it means that I can spread the word and help more people. I'm trying to build the channel that didn't exist when I moved out here 3 years ago. And I'm trying to document what life is really like out in Cyprus, and trying to document it for everybody, people like yourselves who are thinking of moving out here. I know some of you have moved out here now, but I'm just trying to show what life's really like and not just what the tourist bits are like. So yeah, if you can share it, that's going to help more people. That's going to make me feel good. And if you're not already subscribed, then subscribe, because then you'll know when I go live. And I do these live every week. For those of you, I know there's quite a few regulars on here now. I go live every week. Always do a live Q&A, and I'm going to keep doing that until people stop turning up. So on that note, I will carry on with the Q&A. Where we got to? Ted, I bought a property with a tenant that has a contract, no end date, just 3 months notice. Okay. I'm assuming you mean on the island, Ted, yeah? I'm assuming you mean in Cyprus. Excuse me. Aniela, hi, Mark. Cześć, mamo. It's my mother-in-law. Oh, Ted, have to drop off. Talk to you later and then listen back tomorrow for the beginning and the end. Cool. Well, I'm not gonna know the answer to your question later or tomorrow. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, Ted. Much appreciated. Mike, how does the fact that you can get residency on new builds but not resale properties affect the ability to resell a property? Well, it's going to limit the people you can sell it to, because people that are requiring a property for residency purposes will need to buy new build from a developer to get permanent residency, unless it's commercial, in which case they can buy second property, a second owner property or whatever. It can be secondhand is the point I'm making. So you will lose those potential buyers if your property is no longer brand new. That said, you're talking about, for the most part, the English market, the Israeli market, maybe the Russian market. But there's still the rest of Europe. Like, Germans come to the island in droves because the German tax is just crazy high. So there's loads of German speakers on the island. There's loads of German natives on the island. They don't need permanent residency through investments. They will buy a secondhand property. I don't need permanent residency through investment because my wife's Polish. And I know Brian's watching this. He's in a similar situation where you've got access to the EU. If you've got access to the EU residency, or you've got a passport or anything like that, then you don't need to worry about that 300K thing. So does it make it harder to sell if you've got a secondhand property? Potentially, because you've limited that number of buyers who need permanent residency off the back of that property. But there's still a lot of people to buy a property. You know, people will upgrade on the island. People will sell and buy and sell property who live here, just like any other market. So the permanent residency part is a smaller part of it. You know, you still got other people buying property. So I wouldn't let it put you off. If you are in a position where you're looking to buy for you, and you don't need to buy you don't need to buy a brand new house from a developer, you'll probably get more for your money anyway, certainly in terms of land, if you buy secondhand. You know, like, we're developing properties out here. Yeah, I'm still thinking, do I want to build a property for us, or do I just want to buy a bit further inland and have a lot more space? You know, I like land. I like property with land, even if it's agricultural land. I just like knowing that it's my space and somebody can't spring up another house at the back of my garden, you know, things like that. So for me personally, I like the secondhand market because you know what's established. The areas are typically more established. You've got these new builds springing up, and unless the area around it is developed, like you look at Soho, you've got that block of apartments right on the beach. You can get closer to the beach, but it's pretty close to the beach. And then what have they done? The developers have sprung up another block which blocks the view of the first block. You think you'd be safe if you're buying a property in the tallest building in Paphos, but even then you can get screwed, and seems to be getting screwed by their own developers. So I don't know. I would say don't let it put you off. Is the market going to be smaller? Yes. Can't say it isn't, because you're going to lose those potential buyers that need permanent residency. Does that mean you're not going to be able to sell your property? No, of course it doesn't. People upgrade and upsize, downsize. It's just the normal housing market. People will do that. So, don't know if that's helpful. Hopefully, it is. Chris, Parks Playground. Yeah. So, Chris, we do. But the thing is, in the peak of summer, and this is interesting actually. For those of you that come, you look at the Cypriot life, and you look at the Cypriot way of life. Loads of stuff happens in the evening. Like you'll see kids in playgrounds at 10 o'clock at night because it's cooler. People will go out later at night here. Like kids in the playground at 10 o'clock at night in the UK, they're drinking, they're smoking, they're up to no good. But here is kind of the norm. People will play out in the parks at night because it's cooler. In the peak of sun, nobody wants to be going down a metal slide in the full Cypriot sun because it's hot and it burns. So parks are a thing for sure. But again, my son's now 8 or 9. We were in Limassol yesterday, and we were walking down the seafront. Loved the seafront in Limassol. We took his scooter. He's scooting all around, and he was playing in the parks there. But it's got to the point now where he's done it all, and he's getting a little bit bored with the parks, because the swings are for the younger kids, the slides are for the younger kids. He wants to be a bit braver, a bit more white knuckly, and so. There comes a point when the parks don't entertain kids like they used to. I do take your point. In fact, there is a really actually. Let's go back to the maps for a second, because for those of you that are interested, and I find this fascinating, let me go to. I've got it here actually. So if we go to Nicosia, and you go here, right? So there is this place here, right? So you got IKEA. Well, let me go to the satellite view. So you got IKEA, you got the Mall of Cyprus. And for those of you that have been to Nicosia, you see this here, and it's just in the middle of the city, right? Literally from IKEA, you can drive, and it's no more than 5 minutes to get down here, and you come here and you park in this parking here, right? I'm going to click on this. I'm going to show you. This park is lovely. If you've never been, you should definitely go. Just go for a day out. You go to this park, and there's loads of stuff here. Well, no, that's a lie. There's loads of nature there. There is a big park. There's a playground for kids. But, okay, the photos aren't really doing it justice, so let's get rid of them. They're rubbish. Right. The point is, you look at the size of this, right? So we walked around here. I walked around here, and the views from the park, they're incredible, because you've got views over the city, and you can see all the way up. If I just go back to this, you can see even these mountains in part, right? So you can see all the way up here from this park. And the thing is, I walked around here. I spent about 3-4 hours walking around the park just on my own, because I'd been up in Nicosia, and I thought, you know what? I didn't have the family with me, and I just didn't want to waste the day. I had to go to Nicosia for a hospital appointment. I think it was in fact, it was when I was getting like these MRI scans done. And I went to Nicosia, and I'd gone to the hospital. And anyway, so I just decided, you know what, I fancy a day out on my own. And I went to this park, and it's flipping lovely. And so I will take my son up here at some point, because if you look at the paths, I wonder if the man will work. Probably won't. Oh, it does a little bit. Right, here we go. So there you go. Look at that. There's some guy on his bike. Right. So these are the paths. There you go. You can see the mountains there, right? But the paths are great. It was really nice to walk around. So I'm going to take my son up there. I'm going to go on the scooters, and he's going to love it. It's a manual scooter, not electric, But you can walk around here, and I'm not joking. I could not believe that when I went to the parking, where's the parking? There. You get out of the car here. Bearing in mind, IKEA and everything is just here, right? The city is just here. Like this park is in the city. You get out here. I walked in here, and I called my wife from in these trees. You could hear a pin drop. It was that quiet. Honestly, it was so quiet there. So if you've never been and you fancy a trip out to Nicosia or whatever, go there. You've got the lake here. You can walk around here. There's a bird observatory here, which even this was quite fascinating. I'm not a bird watcher. I actually birds annoy the hell out of me because they always used to crap on my car in the UK. We had trees, and everybody goes, "Oh, it's lovely. You got all these trees." Right, come back to me a second. You got all these trees outside your house, and you think it's nice because there's the squirrels and you see the birds, and it's nice until you live there, and then your car gets bombarded every day. And you keep having to go out and you keep having to wash the bird muck off the car, 'cause otherwise it damages the paint. So I'm not actually a bird fan, I'll be honest. Birds for that, unless it's something cool like a big bird of prey, then otherwise I'm not really interested. But why am I telling you that? Well, because I went down here and you go in this little bird hut. And you go in there, and again, it's silent. You're out there, it's silent. And you're looking through this little wooden gap, and it's all long. And there was turtles, not like the sea turtles, but there's little turtles, like not terrapins either. You can tell I'm not a nature guy, right? Not a big turtle, not a little turtle, about this big turtle, not a terrapin, not a big one, this big. So anyway, they'd be swimming around, and some of the birds, I mean, you can see it on the picture there, actually really quite impressive, the stuff that you can see there. So on the whole, this place is really cool. And you know what? I'm going to take my son up here because you look at all the paved areas, it'll be bombing around here and it'll be cool. But again, parks are fine, but again, you're not going to do that in the heat of summer. So, riding bikes, going on bike rides, things like that, is really difficult when it's so warm in the summer. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't want it to be hot. I'm just saying that there's a lack of air-conditioned places out here for kids. Philip, can you rent to buy a property, say after a year of renting, and then you think, hey, I like this property in the area. I wonder if landlord will sell it to me, non-EU on a pink slip. Right. It's funny you say that, Philip, because I'm thinking the same thing. So for those of you that don't know what rent to buy is, rent to buy, it's like a lease option. You have the option to buy a property, but so it's the option to buy it, not the legal obligation to buy it. So typically what will happen is, what will happen is you can go into a lease option with a landlord and you have an agreed price. So whatever that price is today, you might say, oh no, I'm just going to make this up. Let's say it's 300 grand, right? That's what we're talking about. Not new build, secondhand. Let's say you got a property that today is worth 300 grand. You might say, I will pay you 330 grand for that property in 3 years or 5 years, whatever it might be, whatever you agree. And then you live in that property and you pay rent on that property as though you were just renting it. But you've got the legal option to buy it at the end of that 3 year period or the end of the 5 year period, whatever contract you've negotiated with a landlord. And then you go, well, I've got the legal obligation to buy it. If the property prices have gone up, well, you've agreed the price at 330. And if that shoots up to 400, then your quid's in and you go, well, I bought it because I've got the legal option to buy it at 330. Equally, if the property price is tanked and it's now worth 200, you don't have to buy it for 330, but any deposit that you've paid up front, the landlord gets to keep. So he's not lost his money, but he's getting the rent and he gets a deposit up front as if you're kind of going to buy it. So there's definitely good things about that. And the way you would spot a property like that, at least, obviously it all comes down to negotiation. It all comes down to negotiation with the landlords. But what I would say is if you see a property that you like, and it's for rent, and you think, can I buy it? You're looking for a landlord who needs the money to come in. And so a dead giveaway for lease option style properties are properties that are both on the market for lease or for rent, and they're for sale. Because landlords or owners in that scenario, they just need money. They just need something coming in, which is why they've got a property and they go, I either want to sell it or want to rent it, but they just need the headache gone and they need some cash coming in. So that is a type of scenario where you could then approach the landlord and say, hey, can we do a lease option? And the thing is, that is quite common in the UK. Out here, not so much. So you're going to need somebody, probably want a native Greek speaker to help you with that scenario. And you're going to want to get a contract drawn up because unfortunately, sometimes contracts aren't always worth the paper they're written on out here, because if they go back on a contract, then you take them to court, but that could be a 3 or 5 year process. So, is it as riskless as the UK? Probably not. I think, people will, people can do the dirty on you for sure, but then you can get that in the UK, of course, get it anywhere. But yeah, so lease options, yeah, they are a thing. And again, it's all negotiable. You could absolutely do something like that out here because it's going to be dependent on the landlord. If they need money coming in and they're happy to go for an arrangement like that, well, then it just takes the headache off their hand because maybe they've got a mortgage or maybe they've got a property that they just need to sell. Maybe it's at risk of repossession or whatever, and they just need money coming in. So you can approach them. You can actually solve their problem with it. You've also said, Nonny, you're on a pink slip. So that makes it more challenging because you will be on a temporary visa for a year and you might sign all of these lease options open for a year or whatever. But then let's say you're here on a pink slip. That means you've got a certain level of income, which you meet the requirement today. But one of two things could happen in 12 months' time. You could fall on hard times and your level of income could drop, or Cyprus moves the goalposts and the level of income required goes up. You might have an expansion to the family. You might have more dependence on you, in which case the level of income required goes up. So the circumstances and the goalposts can all change. If that happens and you've signed yourself into a 3-year contract, you could come unstuck. So it's just something to bear in mind. It will definitely make it more risky for you. Not impossible, because if your level of income is high enough that you know that you're not going to have a problem, maybe you've got loads of dividends that you can pay yourself from a company over the next 3 years or whatever, and you know that income's not going to be a problem, then you're fine. Or at least it minimizes that risk. But it will definitely make it tricky, but not impossible. CSS Complete Cleaning Limited. I'm in Paphos a lot and live in Burbage. No way. Whereabouts in Burbage do you live? I used to live in Burbage. Small world. Whereabouts in Burbage? I used to live, if you know, the Anchor Pub, Pilgrim's Gates. That's where I used to live. Yeah, where do you live? I'm intrigued. And what brings you to Paphos? Because if you're here a lot, are you thinking of moving to Paphos? Do you want to move to Cyprus? You just here a lot on holiday? How come you're moving? And also, CSS Complete Cleaning Care Limited. What's your name, please? I'd like to do some content similar. I've started a page. Be good to maybe do one with you if you was up for it. Yeah, I mean, so yes, I am. I don't know how long you've been watching any of my content. I will always try and go live. I'm trying to not do pre-recorded content. Now, there have been a couple of times when you've watched me because I've pre-recorded something and then you've watched me live. But I try not to do pre-recorded content because a couple of reasons. One, I'm trying to let you see the real me. So when I make a mistake, when I screw things up, you get to see it. You get to see my reaction to things. That's really hard to fake if you're trying to use AI or something like that. Like with AI, you can fake my face, you can clone my voice, you can do all of that stuff. But you can't really fake the interaction, or at least it's very hard to fake that interaction. So for those of you that have met me, hopefully what you see is what you get, and you see me on camera like this, you meet me in person, it's the same thing. Only difference is I'll probably swear a bit more in person, try not to swear on YouTube, try and keep it family friendly and all that. But otherwise, that's it. So I try and go live, but also I love the interaction with people. I love chatting to you guys on here on a Sunday night. And again, I think that adds a lot of value to you guys because you get to ask questions that ordinarily you might not think to ask. And where's your outlet? If you've got questions, yes, you can go and ask on a Facebook group, but I can at least give you my opinion. I can give you my experiences. If I don't know, I don't know. So to answer the question, would I be prepared to go live? Would I be prepared to do a video? Yeah, absolutely. I'm quite happy to do collaborative videos. That does break away from my norm. So maybe we go live and we do that. I don't know how you'd feel about going live. That said, I do want to, at some point, try and do some interviews. And I don't just mean like with other people, like other YouTubers or whatever. No, I actually want to go and interview businesses, schools, that kind of thing. I've got a few contacts where I can go and speak to people in the schools. And I just think it'd be really good. That'd be great for people that want to see what a school's like, or at least the school's values before actually heading out here. So I'd love to start interviewing also local people. I've always been fascinated by local Cypriots, local Greeks, and not just local Greeks, local people in local countries. I go to Poland, I'm fascinated by the Polish people. Go to Germany, I want to know what makes people tick. And you can only do that by interacting. So I would love to interview somebody here just about life, find out their opinions, get a Greek's opinion on as English, because I hear different things. You hear some people actually despise English people from what I hear and see sometimes because of what happened in the 70s, when the whole, the whole conflict thing happened. And a lot of people attribute that to the English doing something, not doing something. And so what I do like is when I'm chatting to people here on the island, I love to get their view of people like me, immigrants coming to the country. So yeah, I want to try and do that. But yes, that's a really long answer to would I be prepared to do a video? Yeah, absolutely I would. I think it'd be cool. If I can help you out as well. I've only got a small following. I've only got like 900 people or something. It's quite a small following, but it's seemingly quite an engaged following, which is cool. So yeah, I would rather have more engagement from a smaller number of people than thousands of people that don't engage and whatever. So yeah, be up for it. Interestingly, and I think I asked this, or I did ask this last week, for people watching this right now, and if you're watching this recorded, put it in the comments below. What content would you want to see? Because I'm trying to build the channel that I wanted to see 3 years ago. But the beauty of doing this live is that I get to speak to you and find out what you want, and I can try and build that for you. So what would you want to see? I'll try and do it live because that's how I roll. But what would you want to see? What do you want to hear about? Last week, people wanted to hear more from my wife than me. That was cool. I cried a little bit that night and, I was over it by Tuesday, but it's fine. So I'll try and give you some perspectives from my wife's opinion. I did one with my boy, although actually that one didn't prove to be hugely popular in the end because clearly there's not many kids watching this. I guess it's because of the time of night. And seemingly the people that I do speak to and meet so far, I've only met one group of people where they've got young kids. Everybody else is either too young to have kids or they've already done it and all the kids are grown up. So actually seeing it through the eyes of an 8-year-old didn't seem to be that appealing for people, which, again, it's a test. All of this is a test. Like I said in my very first video, I'm just trying it. And you're either going to see me crash and burn in public or, we'll make a go of something and that's fine. So if you're interested in something specific, tell me and I can go and research it. I can go and find it, maybe do a live video from there, whatever it might be there, but we can figure it out, I'm sure. Philip, come on, guys and gals, give Mark a thumbs up. Oh, cheers, Philip. I much appreciate that. That's super cool. Alex, Category F visas do accept resale properties, but not nearly as fast as process. No, you're right. So Category F, from what I hear, there's about a 5-year waiting list or something on there, or 5-year processing list. They're not fast, and I think they've been deprioritized against other things. But yeah, Category F used to be a thing. Have a look at it. If people don't know what that is, look up Category F and just expect a longer wait. But yeah, it means that you don't have to invest as much in terms of, bringing money into the country. Lee Clark, 9 cats, 30 pigeons and 4,000 mosquitoes seem to have moved in with us. Any ideas on how to evict them? Well, Lee and Lou, cats are worth about $2,500. So what I would say is, are the cats sick? Why have you got 30 pigeons and 9 cats? Are you feeding the cats and they're not hungry and not chasing the pigeons? You shouldn't have a pigeon problem if you've got a cat problem. That sounds counterintuitive. Your cats must all be eating from Lou's feeding the cats. That's what I think. To stop feeding the cats, they will eat the pigeons. That kills off some of the pigeons. The cats will get greedy, maybe choke on a pigeon or two. So that'll bring you down to about 7 cats. Mosquitoes, you can get these yellow candles, burn them. In fact, my business partner did quite a cool thing with the mosquitoes. So he disconnected the lights, the hallway light in his house, and he changed it. I think he went to Jumbo or something like that. He changed it. Those blue like fly lamps that you get when they're kind of like they fly in, they get electrocuted or however it works. So he changed his actual landing light to be that. So it was a night light for his son when his son was waking up going to toilet or whatever, And just in the evening, they just always put that on because then any of the mosquitoes go in, they just all flew to the light and got burnt, and it was cool. Like, I need to do that. I need to do that myself. But yeah, that's what I do with the cats and the pigeons. Stop feeding the cats. Maybe they'll eat the pigeons. Philip Brown's Lee Clark, charge them a very high rent. It might work. CSS Complete Cleaning Limited. I'm around the corner from the spa. Not long moved to Burbage from Rugby. Oh, cool. Yeah. So we used to be around the corner from the spa as well. Like I say, we were opposite the Anchor Pub in Pilgrim's Gate. Nice area, actually. Like Burbage, I mean, it was okay. It's a bit noisy. You got noise from the A5, but it was, definitely nicer than Rugby. But interestingly, because I am interested. I'm as interested in people like yourself watching this as you might be about Cyprus. But if you've just moved to Burbage, what's your interest in Cyprus? Are you looking to move here at some point? Is that the end goal? Is that the dream goal? Is it, why are you? Well, you just moved house and we're then watching the Cyprus channel. Oh, okay. Mark, read the next comment. I came to Cyprus 4 years ago for a holiday and then started coming every few months. Now it's more every 4 to 6 weeks. Wow. It beats everything that's happening right now. Definitely looking at moving over. Huh. That's interesting. So, on that note, I mean, you must be doing all right if you can travel every 4 or 6 weeks and you must be able to work remotely, right? So, I'm going to assume here from that limited bit of information that you're self-employed, you've got some kind of business that you can do and work remotely on, and that allows you to freely move about and all the rest of it. So assuming that's the case, then moving to Cyprus is going to be huge tax benefits for you, for sure. You know, the UK, I mean, it's going down the pan, in my opinion. It's a shame. I always loved the UK. I respect where I came from, but it's going downhill. It's going downhill so much, you know, in a lot of ways. Hence why I voted with my feet 3 years ago. You know, just decided to come out here. You could sit and, like, you get two types of people, right? You get the people that will just sit and moan, and they love to moan, and they go to the pub and they moan, and everybody moans. Or you got the other group of people, probably like a lot of you watching this, who just take action and go and do something about it, and they move. So yeah. Anyway, Alex, any experience of living in the Sada area? Not living there, Alex, but I can show you some stuff, and I can tell you what I know. So let's move away from Nicosia for a second and let's go down to Tsada. So for those of you that don't know, you've got the Misogi area here. You've got the International School of Paphos. At the bottom, it's just kind of parallel to Misogi Road. And if you come up this road here, it takes you past Olympus village, which is a Leptos village, and it takes you into Tsada. Now, Tsada, in fact, if I change to, let me just do this. Let me go to Google Earth. We're in space now. Right, here we go. Let's go to this one. I'll show you this. So, that's a bit harder to see, isn't it? Go back to the maps for just a second. I just want to show you this. So, Sada here. Right, let me get the ruler. And let's just say from the coast to Sada, I want you to see this. I just want just that. Done. I click done. Done. Right. Look at the elevation in Sada. You're looking at nearly 600 meters up, right? Where I am in Tala, we're about 160 meters up. So it's a hell of a difference. Sada is very high. You get some amazing views up there, but it's definitely colder. In fact, up until a few years ago, I guess because of global warming and everything else, some of the locals were telling us that up until a few years ago, it used to actually snow in Sada. So normally you get the snow in Troodos Mountains, but it would actually snow in Sada up until a few years ago. And it's the height. You look at the height, like I say, it's 600 meters high, the elevation. So you do get amazing views, but it is higher, it's cooler, it won't be as humid in the summer. So from that perspective, if you're into that sort of thing, it ticks a lot of boxes. Now, there's two problems with it fundamentally that I see and that factored into us moving up that way. Excuse me. One is this B7 road here. So it's a bit noisy because you've got a lot of traffic going down there. So even like we looked at a house in Olympus Village when we were looking to rent. Stunning views, like better views than we had in our first house. And it was epic. But you got road noise. You got road noise from this because it traveled and you got the road noise there. And Sada, I mean, if you're up this way, probably won't. So if you're up this way, you probably hear more. If you're further inland, then you'll be fine. But this road is really busy. Now, if I just flick back to the maps, this road here is really busy because it's a main road. And when you come onto it, you'll see it is single lane. It's this, a single lane each side. Now, that's fine until somebody breaks down or until there's an accident, or you get a lorry stuck or whatever, and then it causes carnage, it causes chaos. So if you're then trying to get down this road into Paphos, fair enough, it's only quite near Misogi, but if you look at the roads, if you're in Tsada, you've either got to traverse down these back lanes to get around somehow if this road gets blocked, and you're kind of a bit stuck, really. And you go down Street View, so you look at some of these back roads, and you've got, the lanes, and they are proper lanes. So this road becomes kind of like the lifeline to get there. The other problem with Sada, I say problem, it depends what you want in life, right? But the other problem with Sada is there's not a huge amount going on there. So again, the views are lovely, so as you can see there, right? You get some, depending if you're on the back, you get the views of, I think it's Troodos. And then you can get some awesome sea views up this way. But there's not really a huge amount going on. So if I just type, oh no, not there. I've lost it there. Right, if I just type shop or supermarket, you have to go to the UK. Let's go back. Not helpful, is it? If you want to live in Sada and you want some bread, you have to go to England. Oh, okay. A quick convenience coffee and convenience. So you click on here. Oh, okay. You've got a little kiosk. The kiosks are generally more expensive, but you've got a kiosk. Okay. Don't recall that when we were looking. But anyway, it depends how new it is. It looks quite nice. But typically, when we were looking at Olympus Village, again, there's nothing. And you've got very little up here, right? I don't think there's even that many tavernas, if that's your thing. You got two. Okay. You've got, okay. So I've got a taverna. Right. You see the sea view there. Like I say, the views are stunning up there. But again, that's one side of the village. And you click on this one, and you've got another one here. And they look like they review great, which is cool. That's always good. But basically, looking at this, you've got one shop at the bottom of the hill, and this is a hill, by the way. Like you come down to the bottom here, and it is a proper hill to get up. You turn up there, and then it comes up this hill there. So you're not going to be walking it. Oh, yeah, you've got the kiosk there. Right. You're not going to be walking that in the summer. And then you've got two tavernas. And like I said, that's pretty much it. So then if you want to go shopping, like when we were in Olympus Village, the nearest shop was the Papa Antonio Bakery, which is on this crossing here. And it's there. And that's 24 hours. So you can go there. But it's a bakery. So milk's more expensive. Everything's more expensive there. And so then from here, if you want to go to a proper shop, you've got to come all the way down here. And the first big supermarket you're going to get to really is Lidl. And if you want to go to Alpha Mega or you want to go to somewhere like that, then you've got to come even further in to get to this one. So Sada's okay. You'll find property prices are cheaper there. You'll find that there's awesome views, but it's going to be a bit quieter. There's not a lot going on. It's going to be very kind of small villagey type thing, and there's not a huge amount going on. So anyway, Alex, hopefully that's helpful. But I know you got my number. If you want to ask anything specific, you can just ping me as well. CSS Complete Cleaning Limited. Yes, I agree. It's massively going down the pan. I can't move out full time because my kids are 11 and 9. I don't have them full time, but what I'm doing is setting everything up for the future. Ah, see, right, okay. Yeah, I mean that makes it tough. And I've never been in that situation. I've only got one child for a start, and luckily, me and his mum are still together. So we don't have that challenge. But the other thing as well, because of the age of your kids, I mean, my son's not even 9; he's 9 next week. But we brought him out 3 years ago, and for the first 6 months or so, he was fine. And then he started getting emotional about his friends, and that was a big shock to us because we thought he'd moved here, it was cool. And even now, 3 years on, he gets teary sometimes. He wants to go back to England. He's already told me he wants to study in England and not here. Now, he's trading on the memories of life 3 years ago, and he's trading on the memories of his friends. But what he doesn't realize is that his friends are growing up. The people that he used to be close with, his friends are growing up, and his best friends from like primary school, they don't really talk anymore. And it's a shame. And he came and he was, I think it was like I say, 5 or 6 years old when we came out. If your kids are 9 and 11, 11 is going to be a real tough age because by that point they're already making relationships. By the time they get to become a teenager, it's going to make it really hard. And the fact is, you might not even be able to bring them out of the country, like you just said, because if you only get them like half the time, then it's going to make it tough. You'll have to make a choice where you go either you want to see your kids less or you want to move abroad, and that just makes it really tough. So, okay, I get it. Sorry, I feel like I've pried now, but anyway, I totally get it. So, yeah, I'm spending as much time out as possible. I'm back out at the start of July, then going to bring the kids on holiday this year. Cool. Start of July. Yeah, let's just traverse this for a second. So start of July, 4th of July, I will be doing the next Cyprus Unfiltered meetup in person, where anybody that's out here and anybody who wants to meet up, we can do. Last time we went to Barracus Lounge and it seemed to be okay, actually. People seemed to like it and the food seemed better than it was the first time I went. And so, although I didn't eat, people were saying the food was okay. We'll do something else on the 4th. The 4th for me is going to be slightly tricky. I'm going to have to leave on time on the 4th because we've got family flying in on the 4th. And so I'm going to go rock and roll, come and meet you guys for anybody that wants to come and meet us and just meet up with everybody else. And then I'll be going to the airport about 1 o'clock, I think it is. So yeah, I will come. It won't be as long for me this time, but I'll definitely come. And if you're around on the start of July, if you're around on the 4th, you're more than welcome to join us. Karen, topic suggestion you asked for, tips on viewing or renting property and negotiating with landlords. How to be aware of unscrupulous and non-registered estate agents. Not sure if you've covered this already. No, I haven't. I haven't actually. But what I'm going to do now is, can I copy your comment? Probably. Somebody else watching this is going to make a video on it and steal the idea that I didn't have. Right, let me just put this. I'm going to put this in the chat. Thank you. Let me put this in here. And I'm going to call this content ideas. And I'm going to put it in there. Oh, I've just copied the word unscrupulous. That's going to be rubbish, isn't it? In a few weeks' time, we'll be like, what does that mean? I know what the words mean. Right. Oh, can I copy the whole thing? Sorry. You guys get to watch me now try and copy and paste. You wouldn't think I work in IT, would you? There we go. It's in. Thank you. Cheers, Karen. Appreciate that. Philip Prallins. Thanks, Cliffy. I was thinking about the same question. Oh, okay, cool. Well, then at least there's more than one person that wants it. So just bring the audience what they want. Alex, curious to learn about shifting and setting up business on the island. See, this is on the content plan, actually, Alex. This is on the content plan, setting up business out here. And I was contemplating doing that tonight, actually. I've got it on the list of things to talk about. I was contemplating whether to do that tonight. So that will definitely be one, because at the moment I have a company in the UK and I've got 2 companies here now. And yes, that is definitely something that I will be talking about. But thank you for the input. Right, what time are we on? 10 to 11. I can't do my like and share screen because I broke it because I'm a twonk. So if you guys have just joined recently, then I was doing some stuff on my computer and I broke my intro screen because I get this. And I broke my like and share screen because I get this. So I'm going to fix it. I should have tested it before I came on, but I didn't. So I'm going to fix it for next week. In fact, it probably won't help me next week because I'm going to be in the UK. I'm going to be doing it from a hotel. That's going to be interesting because normally when I do it from a hotel, it's just me. Next week, I'm going to have my wife and my son there. So I might have to kick them out of the room, or I'm going to have to go and find a quiet spot somewhere. And then I'm going to get loads of people in England just watching me talk in the bar. But who's he talking to? This guy's weird. Anyway, just what I'm saying, it's 10 to 11. I need a drink because I'm talking too much. There's 53 concurrent users now. Wow, this is getting bigger and bigger. I'm going to have a drink. You guys can watch me drink for a second. I've been talking for nearly 2 hours and I'm going to answer some more questions. So if you've got questions, put them in the chat. I'll keep going because I'm having a good old run tonight. I'm not tired, so we're going to keep going. Let's do it. What we'll say again is, if you're finding it useful, going around this cycle again. Normally, like and share screens on now, and it's really cool and it's interactive and some music. But if you are finding it useful, interesting, entertaining, whatever, then just give it a like and share. If you think somebody else will get benefit from it, share it in a Facebook group, whatever. This video, any of the videos, because I am just trying to document what life is like out here, and trying to build the channel that I wished existed when we moved to Cyprus 3 years ago. So if you think somebody will benefit from it, please do. See if you can help them out and just send them a message. It will cost them nothing. It will cost you nothing. Hopefully they get something from it. But yeah, I'm just trying to document life out here for everybody else. Also, if you're not subscribed, I haven't checked the stats actually this week, but it still seems to hinder about 55% of people that are watching this aren't subscribed. So if you're not subscribed and you fancy seeing more of this guy, hit the subscribe button. And again, ding the bell, because for those of you that have tuned in late, next week I'm going to go to the UK and I'll be able to do the live video in the UK from a hotel. But the week after, I'm going to be landing about 10, half 10, something like that, my time. So that would be now when I'm supposed to go live. No, I go live every week at 7 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Cyprus time. I'm going to be landing, and I still want to go live. I still want to do this for everybody. I like doing the Q&A and everything else. So if you're subscribed on that Sunday, if you ding the little bell notification as well, I don't know what time I'm going to be going live. I'm just going to come on and I'm going to go live, and whoever joins. I will deliver some content. Don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to see what I can do at that time of night. And I will still go live because I want to go live at least once a week for the year. And I'm going to do that. So there will be 52 lives that I will have done in the year. And I'm going to keep going anyway for as long as people are interested. But yes, I'm going to go live in 2 weeks. It's just, I don't know what time it's going to be. So apologies. They won't let me go live from the plane. That would be an interesting live stream, wouldn't it? Especially if it crashed and burned. Could you imagine that? Going live. Anyway, right. I'm going to have one more sip of my drink and then I'm going to go into some more questions. Okie dokie. Okay. Ella Brown. That's a new name. Good to have you on, Ella Brown. Thanks for joining. Thanks. Learned something today. Ooh, okay. Which bit? Because I appreciate, one, there's a delay in this, and two, you might post something and I might see it 5 minutes later or something. What have you learned today, Ella? I'm actually curious. And what would you like to learn? You know, you've clearly clicked on this tonight. What would you like to see going forward? CSS Complete Cleaning Limited. I really want to know your name. That's a mouthful to say every time you post a comment. Yes, that sounds good. Hopefully I'm there on the 4th. I haven't booked a ticket yet, but we'll be over the next week. We'll definitely come along. Cool. I'll be good to see you there. But I need to know your name. Otherwise I'm just going to see you and I'll be like, hey, are you CSS Complete Care Limited? Right. How Donnie reach out to you? Is your name Donnie? Are you speaking about yourself in the third person? How Donnie reach out to you? Donnie reach out to me by go Instagram. I'm assuming you mean how do I reach out to you? Instagram is the best way because I set that up. So for those, let's make it interactive, and you can see me go to Instagram. Oh no, you can't because I did it on the wrong screen. Right, let me click on this one, and you can see me go to Instagram. So if you come on here, in fact, let me just put this in the chat. You can just add me on there or whatever, and you can reach out to me on there. There you go. My link is in the chat. And what I will say, because people ask me about this, because they see me posting on Instagram and everything else, and there's nothing new on Instagram. Like if you're watching me live on a Sunday night, I don't add any additional content on Instagram. I don't add any additional content on TikTok. I'm on both. All I'm doing is linking it back to YouTube. Yeah, I'm linking people back to YouTube. It's in my profile descriptions on both. Being transparent with you guys, I do this live because I want to make a point of it not being fake. I want it to be authentic. I want it to be unfiltered. And I want to not be mixed up with AI, let's say. However, AI as a tool is fantastic. So you'll see now some of my thumbnails they've changed. Like rather than me doing it manually, I'm using AI to generate some thumbnails, which is freaking awesome, by the way. It saves me a bunch of time. But I also use a tool which chops up these live videos. So if I talk to you for 2 hours on a Sunday night, or 3 hours, 3 hours, 10 minutes, I think is the maximum or the record. If I speak to you guys, I then use an AI tool that chops up all of my videos, chops up this one video into loads of short videos. They get They get uploaded to Instagram. I'm pointing like it's over there. They get uploaded to Instagram and TikTok automatically. And it is just clips of this. It's clips of the Sunday night session. So the best way to watch it is to tune in live on a Sunday night, because if you're seeing the clips on Instagram, you will not always see it with the best context in the world because you won't have had the run up to the question and so on and so forth. Equally, it can cut off sometimes and it'll be like, what was the point? For some of the comments are quite funny and they make me laugh because I think my favorite comment so far, I can't remember which video it was on now because it's posted hundreds of them on there. But anyway, my favorite comment was somebody said, my favorite bit was when you told us what happened because the video stopped at that point. And I thought it was quite funny. So anyway, I do use AI to edit for Instagram and TikTok. But the point is that there is nothing new. So I will cycle back around on this. There's nothing new that you will see on Instagram or TikTok. I'm purely using Instagram as a way for people to message me, because it means I don't have to give my mobile number out, because that's kind of a bit weird, and people will text me and message me weird things, and there'll always be somebody that's negative. And anyway, so I don't put my mobile number out there. It's on there. You can get me on Instagram. And like I say, I'm just using Instagram and TikTok as a way to push people back to YouTube, because YouTube is where I'm kind of doing everything. So yeah, hopefully that's the question. Right. The Blue Haze Motor. I've not seen Blue Haze for a little while. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining in. What's the question? The question is, evening, Mark. Hope you're well. Great topic. We'll have to watch it all back later on, as only just joined. Some great questions on here tonight. What no earworm music tonight? Right? What no earworm music tonight? Are you guys just... You're trying to make me read out the most stupid thing. It's like when you people read out like these funny names, isn't it, in supermarkets? What's no earworm music tonight? I don't know what that means. What no earworm? Oh. You're talking about my like and share screen, I think. I like my music. I don't know what earworm music is. I like my music. It sounded authentic. That was from Canva. You type in Canva Greek music, you'll find that tune. Alex, if you could find the right property, what kind of indoor AC, indoor, and if you could find the right property, what kind of indoor AC, indoor entertainment or hospitality business would you set up? Yeah, it's a great question, Alex, actually, because when my son came on about a month ago, maybe a little bit more, Lee was asking the same question. And he'd got some interesting points, but my personal view is that things like soft plays, as an example, they're quite limited on the island. So there are some, but I've not found a decent sized one. You can go to Nuneaton, for those of you that know Warwickshire. You can go to Nuneaton in Bermuda Park, and the soft play there is just one of hundreds of soft plays all over the UK, right? And that one soft play is bigger than anything I've seen on the island. Like, kids play there for hours. And I think something like that would do really well out here. You make it for the bigger kids, have a bigger area to play. And honestly, like Cosmic Bowling has a soft play for kids up to 9 years old. So my son won't be able to go after next week, right? And there's another thing to do that, right? So Cosmic Bowling with the... Oh, what's happened? We're back. Okay. It just said connect. It looked like my live stream had finished. It looked like it just broken, but it clearly hasn't. And you're back, or I'm back. Stop. It's clearly my fault. It's clearly not your fault. I'm back. So where was I going? I've done it again. My train of thought goes. This is great when it's live, isn't it? Because I actually can't remember what I'm saying. Normally you just edit these bits out. What are we talking about? We're talking about Cosmic Bowling. We're talking about soft plays. You asked me, right? Yeah, that's right. You asked me what entertainment for kids. So yes, Cosmic. We had some friends that were trying to book the soft play for a birthday party, and it was booked up 3 months in advance, right? 3 months for a soft play that's okay. And that's because there's not really any other options. So I think a bigger soft play, like if you just look at some of the soft plays that you see in the UK, bring anything like that here, I think it would do really well. I think kind of you don't even need to reinvent the wheel. You just bring stuff across that you see in the UK. So any kind of indoor entertainment. I mean, I don't know, maybe not a snow dome. I think the Tamworth Snow Dome would be great. When you see people out here, it's really funny actually. When it snows and people go to the Troodos Mountains, it's really funny because like how in the summer you get all of these bewildered people that go to parks because the sun came out, and it's like, oh, the sun's out. You have to have barbecues, and you go to the park and you sit on a picnic blanket that you get to take out for 2 times a year. It's kind of the same thing with snow here, because you get all these bewildered Cypriots where they will literally go to the Troodos Mountains and they have a picnic in the snow. Now, I didn't believe this at the time, but you will go and there will be people sitting there. They've got a table and chairs out. They're in the winter coats and they've got the hats on and they're sat in the freaking snow having a picnic. It's really funny. So I don't know if a snow dome would do well or not. The Cypriots would probably love it. I think anything like that where it's cold inside would be good. And what else? I mean, indoor golf, crazy golf, I think would be a good one. Again, the crazy golf on the island that I've seen, certainly in Paphos, if you go to Mario's golf, oh my God, it's rubbish. In fact, I feel like I need to show you this. Mario's golf. Let's go to Google's Maps. Let's go to Google Maps. Let's type Mario's golf. I need to show you this. Mario's golf park. Here we go. Right, they've got a driving range and stuff, which I've never actually been on. So they've got this here, they've got a golf course and everything else. They've got this driving range here, and that looks okay. I've never used it. I'm not really a golfer, but you see this, right? This is the crazy golf, and basically it was like 9 holes of the same thing. Just it kind of some kink to the left, some kink to the right. A couple of them had a little bump, but that was their crazy golf. It was absolute rubbish. So anyway, that is signposted all over Paphos. Like Mario's golf is signposted all over Paphos. It's rubbish, crap. But if you come up to Coral Bay, they've got a new one. Keep coming up, keep coming up. Where's the strip? You go down here and you get to this. Oh no, hang on a minute. Gone too far. No, I haven't. That's right. Roundabout. There you go. Right. This bit here. Right. So now this amusement park, so this is literally just down the road from Philippos. If I just stick this in here, Philippos is like just here on the main road. In fact, there it is. You can see Philippos there, and you've got Phil's Grill and everything. Anyway, right. So you turn here, and you've got this little adventure playground, which was closed for ages, and you'll see it at night. The trampolines are there. It's all lit up and everything else. And it's just like an outdoor playground. Why am I showing you this? Well, because if you're ever interested, this this satellite view is out of date. But this now, all around here, or is it actually? Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just not very clear. Actually, it could be. It could be up to date now. It's just not very clear. This is a crazy golf center as well, which is really good by comparison. Like, it's way better than Mario's, and it's really cool. Again, this gets booked out for parties and stuff like that. So what you'll find is that that's really good. But I think an indoor one of them would be great. That's a really long-winded answer. But an indoor golf course, like an indoor crazy golf, if you go to Leicester, they've got these really big ones. You go to Birmingham, not the Bullring. Oh, what's it called? Near Spaghetti Junction. Forgot what it's called. Star City. You go to Star City in Birmingham. They had an awesome indoor golf center, like a crazy golf center as well. So I think anything like that would be great, because you've got to think kids' parties here. You've got a lot of people with a lot of money and nowhere to go. So I think anything like that could work really well. And I think the possibilities out on the island for business and just opportunities like that, I think is just fantastic. In fact, so last week I did this shopping video, right? For those of you that saw it, I did this shopping video where I compared the prices of different supermarket foods. And today we were in, what's it called? Skevlinitis. We're in Skevlinitis near me. And I went in and we did the shopping, and we were coming out and we were queuing up the tills, and a lady calls over. She said, "Oh, you can use the self-checkout." Now, self-checkouts in Cyprus aren't really a thing. Most shops don't have them. And even at the self-checkout unit, you still have to go to the veg counter. Somebody will weigh your veg at the counter. They will stick a barcode on, and then you scan that barcode at the till. The self-checkouts, or the SCOs, the self-checkouts don't have, or if they do have it, they don't activate it because they probably don't want to put people out of a job. You don't weigh the fruits. You're not selecting bananas and stuff like you would do in Sainsbury's or Tesco or anything like that in the UK. So anyway, self-checkouts is a thing. It's going to be a revolution that comes here because, and I could tell the staff member that was helping us, it was really funny actually, the staff member that was helping us, she was showing us or telling us how to scan a barcode. And she was telling us, no, you need to put your food on here first because it's a security scale. And she was like, no, you need to select how many bags you want, and literally giving us a training walkthrough. And honestly, like, she was the sweetest lady. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mocking her, but it was the fact that this is new tech on the island for the locals. And I just found it fascinating. I found it really funny. It was like, it must be, I don't know, it's like the first time somebody'd seen a car for the first time. It's like, wow, look at this self-checkout. I hate them. I go into a shop, I'd rather somebody do it for me. But anyway, those types of things that just didn't really exist on the island. I think there's loads of stuff like that. And you think with such a big opportunity for things on the island, you don't need to invent anything. You can just bring something that works from the UK or from the US or wherever, and bring it to the island, and you probably do well. Market's a lot smaller, but anyway. Uh, my name is Ben. Cool. That makes it easier. Thanks, Ben. And sorry, yes, spelling mistake. That's all right. No worries. The Blue Haze Moto. Message retracted. Oh, you going to talk to me. Philip, we have two cats. Are vets out there expensive? UK vets are criminals. Bunch of thieves to animal lovers. Oh, it's a good question. I don't know, is the answer. So we don't have any pets. We befriend the local cats that are feral because they then keep the snakes away and stuff. But I've not had anything or anybody to take to the vets. Anybody, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? That said, the vet near us, I need to show you this actually. I said the vet near us. There is a vet in Kissonegra. It's not really that near us, but let me show you this because you drive past it. It looks like a flipping spa. I can't imagine it's cheap. Right. Oh, wait on. I'm not showing my screen. I might. Let's go back to this. Animal hospital. Look at that. Look at that. It's like, it's flipping lovely. Like, honestly, it looks nicer than the actual hospitals for people. So I think the quality of the vets are very good. From what I see and hear, you get lots of people taking animals in. There you go. Paphos Vet Animal Hospital. I can't help but think they should have a little, like when you see these cars dressed up as dogs, they should have like a little emergency services for the animals and for the vets. But anyway, I don't know the prices, is the long and short of it. So is anybody watching who knows the prices of vets? How much does it cost to, what do you do with the cat? Do you service a cat? What do you do with a cat? Like, do you take it in for like a health check MOT? I don't know. I know you deworm them and I know you can get like, the ticks taken off them. I don't know. What does it cost to look after a cat in Cyprus? Karen, thanks, Mark. Great content and chat as always. Thanks, Karen. Appreciate it. It sounds like you're saying goodbye. So if you are, then good night. But thanks for joining. The Blue Haze, how much is rent going up year on year on average, or do you think they've stabilized due to issues in the Middle East? P.S. I love the like and share tune. It's missed, Andy. Andy, I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to fix it. It's coming back. Don't worry. So is rent going up? Ordinarily, yes, rent is going up year on year. However, as Alex has pointed out, rent does seem to have stabilized slightly, possibly due to the conflict that isn't really a conflict, at least in Cyprus anyway, because the normal process this time of year would be if a property hasn't rented, it goes on Airbnb, and the tourist season usually flies. But tourist season is down this year. It's a shame, really, for the local Cypriots, for the businesses that are reliant on tourism. They're all, I don't say struggling, but in a lot of cases they are struggling because the tourism's down. Now, if the tourism's down, the properties that would have gone onto Airbnb aren't being booked, and so therefore they need money coming in. So then they'll try and rent them, and it means that prices have cooled slightly. But on average, prices go up every year. Like we're seeing that, prices go up every year, and I think it's just natural. You see the prices. Like I don't know what time you joined in tonight, but if I just jump back to this and I show you the prices here, so average transaction total size between 2006 and 2026. You look at this, right? Limassol and everywhere else, it just gets more expensive every year, which, it's why people buy property, right? Because you want your money to go up in value. So it's getting more expensive on the whole every year. So naturally rents are going to follow. And so rent does get more expensive each year. It's just the way it is. So yeah. The jingle intro you play, missing tonight, love it. I feel like I missed a comment here. Oh, no, that's fine. Right, Philip, the jingle intro you play, missing it tonight, love it. It should be number one in the Cypriot charts. I like it too, to be honest. That's why I picked it. I feel like I need to make my own AI music and then I could sell it. I don't know. But yeah, I miss it as well. I'm a bit disappointed it's not working. Karen, maybe Cyprus next Eurovision entry. Yeah. I quite like Jala, as you could probably guess, because I went and did the location video on it. I didn't know what it was, actually. I didn't know it was Eurovision until like my wife had showed me this video, and I liked it. The reason why I liked it was just because it was filmed in Cyprus. And when I watched it, I actually felt very proud to be living here. I felt very, very privileged to be living here, you know? I don't know why, don't know what it was, just something about the video, dancing in the local bars, the local streets and stuff like that. And I just found it really nice. And so I felt really grateful to be living here versus where I was in Burbage, where I just wasn't really interested in living anymore. And then it ends up being Eurovision and all the rest of it. So I thought, you know, I'll just newsjack it and I'll just go and do some stuff on Eurovision. I've never watched Eurovision in my life, didn't really know what it was. I mean, I knew it was a music contest, but anyway, so that was quite interesting. But for the same reason, if you've ever seen the movie, it used to be on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore, but it's a movie called Find Me Falling. In fact, there you go. Let's go to the movies tonight. Find Me Falling. This one. Right. So this movie here, Find Me Falling, so it was on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore, but anyway, Find Me Falling. This was a movie filmed on the island of Cyprus. In fact, if you go to, in fact, let me do it. Find Me Falling, the trailer. You won't be able to hear this. That's fine. Now you get to watch me watching a YouTube video, which is the pinnacle of Sunday night entertainment. So this here, well, let me just turn the music off because I can hear it. You can't. Let me just kill that. So this here, in fact, actually, let me just go back. So that. So this house, no, not that one. This house here, this cabin. Lots of people were looking for this, and lots of people were looking for this particular place. Now, this is on the way to. It's in the Akamas region, and this is on the way to what's it called? The Clary, the last castle, right? And so this was temporary, and they put it up for the set, and then they took it down. So like if you go there, you're not going to see it. And then you've got so yeah. In fact, actually, if I go back to that scene, so this road it takes you down. This is all the Akamas region down there. It's actually lovely. And if I just come across, is it? You see it there? Yeah. This beach. I'm giving away our top tips here. This beach is lovely in the summer. It's a stony beach, but in the summer, normally when Coral Bay and everywhere is packed, you can come down here and you're pretty much the only people on the beach. It's lovely. So it's really nice. But anyway, let me just keep going because there's a church somewhere. I'll show you this. Where is it? Where's the church? Oh, it's not really a suicide hotspot, by the way. It's just obviously for the film. There's a church. Let me just need to find this because not there. Although that you can see that's Paphos Castle there. For those who are interested, that's Paphos Castle. We were there today actually down in the harbour. Me and my boy were climbing these rocks. But there is a castle. No, there isn't. There's a church I'm looking for. Okay, right. Well, it's not there anyway. There is a church, and it's in. Let's go to the maps. Not the vet. Here, it's this one. And they've just redone it all. But this church here is in the movie, and it's really cool. So you'll see that church in the movie. That's all been redone. That it doesn't look like that anymore. It looks like that, but the area around it has been done. But yeah, this church is in the movie anyway, and it's lovely if you go there. But why am I showing you this? Because yes. So I kind of got into the Eurovision for that because the video was filmed on the island. I thought I'd do a bit of news jacking and go and do something that was topical and current events and all of that. And the fact that it was just filmed locally, I found it quite interesting. And it was the same with this movie. You know, there's bits of it filmed in Paya. There was bits of it filmed, I think, over in Famagusta way. And some of it was in Nicosia as well. So it's all over. But anyway, that was that. Right. Photoport UK. So let me just right. Hi, how about to set up utilities, water, electricity, bins, registration, health, and council tax would be helpful for future chats. Oh, love it. Okay, let me take it. Oh no, let's not do that. Channel activity. Let me just highlight that. I'm going to put it into content ideas. Thank you very much. bringing the people what they want to see. I think deworming tablet was €7. Oh, did we deworm? Did we deworm Fluffy? We adopted a cat and called it Fluffy. We didn't really adopt it. We just fed it. It kept turning up. €7 for there you go. €7 for a deworming tablet. Then I've forgotten about that. Philip, hey, hi Asha. When are you coming on to say hello? Hello. I was talking to her about this earlier because obviously last week people were saying that they wanted to, I guess, see a bit more of the wife and hear about it from my wife's perspective. Hear about Cyprus from my wife's perspective, and she's still not up for coming on. So just a bit of moral support. Just need to, if you see her online, tell her to come on. You see her at the next meetup, tell her she needs to come on. Oh, cool. Oh, hey, Emma. Good to have you on. Thanks for joining. Find Me Falling is still on Netflix. Awesome. Hammer. Cool. Ellie Brown, just back from Larnaca, was not able to find a decent restaurant. Found a few nice coffee shops, but where would you find some decent restaurants in Cyprus? Well, we were at a restaurant yesterday. I need to show, I will show you this because it's lovely. Oh no, I'm zooming in. No, right. We were, let me show you this. So you come down towards Pasori, and we were just as you get off this one here. A little bit noisy because it's right by the motorway, and you might go, that sounds rubbish. But oh, wait a minute. Let's do that. So the views from here was lovely, really nice. There you go. That's it at night. So you literally can see all the way down to the sea. You can see some of the hills as well. And we were here. We're literally on this grass, which isn't really grass. It's fake grass, but it was nice to walk on. Beats walking on tiles all the time. Oh, that's what it looked like when they're building it. But yeah, it's only been open a year or so. Really nice, though. Really good food and just really nice. People were super friendly, like really, really nice. So that's one restaurant that we like, or we liked as of yesterday. In Pasori, you get quite a few nice restaurants, actually. Bunch of Grapes somewhere, if I just type that in. Bunch of Grapes was quite good. Bunch of Grapes. And all around here, oh, there we go. So Bunch of Grapes. This is nice. So again, I'll give you a little bit of Pasori. So Bunch of Grapes is nice. Then you come into, oh, I've lost it. Where's it? Can't see it. Where's the fountain? And what? You guys just get to watch me now trying to find. There we go. There's a fountain there somewhere. There you go. Pasori Square Fountain. It really is a fountain. It's a street, but it really is a fountain. Anyway, that fountain. Okay, so here is like the heart of Pasori, the Pasori village. These taverns are all quite nice. This one, they do really good moussaka, which is really nice. And they do a really good buffet on a Friday night. And the thing is, in peak season, and Hemma will attest to this, who's online, because we went there last year. I know, so you can't drag the little guy down. All of this street becomes, I know you can't see it. Well, anyway, all of this street is basically nightlife. And I mean like local Cypriot nightlife where they're showing like local entertainment, you know, bouzouki music, and they've got the guys doing the tricks with the glasses on the head. And so it must be like all of these restaurants must pay into it because people come, and it doesn't matter which restaurant you're in, everybody gets to see the entertainment. You're all sitting outside. So this is lovely. You come out of Pasori though, maybe you want to go a bit more over to Paphos. So a few of the ones we like, let's just keep going to Paphos. Mandria's got some good restaurants. Mandria, although I wouldn't necessarily want to live there, this square that was redone probably about 3-4 years ago, this is quite a cool restaurant. This one here, which is in the sports bar. It's not a sports bar, but they show a lot of sports in there. Some Australian people seem to be working there, and they have done for years. Really cool. This one's quite nice as well. But let's just keep going further in. So let's get towards Paphos. So, Cliff Social. Let me show you this one. I like Cliff Social because it does good food. There's a nice seating area around here, and you've got the little park play area for the kids as well, which is always quite nice. So I do quite like Cliff Social, and there's a couple of reasons why. Let's just go towards it. Come on. That's the slowest car in the world. It's because reversing. If it was going forwards, it'd be quicker. There we go. Right. So Cliff Social. It looks terrible. It looks rusty. It's not. It's lovely. Oh God. I promise it's nice. It doesn't look like that. Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like that. Well, anyway, it's actually a restaurant. I promise, not just a. Oh, well, they're clearly still building it. Anyway, you get these. See, look, even the view's letting me down. This is normally really nice. This is a rubbish example. You've got the sea there, Cliff Social, because it's on a cliff, and you just get really nice views. Well, look at that. It's gone sunny. Hey, see, look, see, sunny now. The sun's come out. This keeps doing this, right? For those of you that have watched my live videos, as I do this, it's like they build it in real time. So now, look, now part of the restaurant's built and it's lovely. And the sun's come out, and I'm literally on the same bit of street view. But anyway, this keeps happening. So that's nice. I like Cliff Social. There's obviously a whole bunch of stuff in the old town and stuff that you can go to there, but I'm just calling out the ones I like. Then there is some, right, so where we go now? So this one, probably one of my favorite restaurants on the island is, why is it not showing up? That one, the Toothkia. I love it here. So this is an awesome restaurant, and if you've never been, you should definitely go. And again, nice views, awesome, awesome people that own it. Really nice people. Food's amazing. I really like it anyway. But yeah, they have entertainment on down there and stuff like that. But like literally, it doesn't look that nice from the outside. And the crazy thing is, because it's in the middle of nowhere, you can only go during daylight hours because they use a generator and stuff for the fridge, but most of the time it's kind of like all in the daytime because they've got electric and generators and stuff like that, but it's mostly solar power, so it's quite nice. It's kind of off grid. But what I will say, and the man probably it does work. What I will say is when you're driving down this road to get there, it's literally like that. That is the road, right? And it's bumpy as heck in places. And the first time we went, it was back in 2022 when we did our trial living. The first time we went, we were driving and we found it on the map, or my wife found it on the map. So looked at that and you go, right, it's 4.8, must be good from 462 people. So we're driving down here and it's actually this bit where the tarmac disappears, right? So you're driving along, you've got this nice bit of tarmac road, and then you come out here and you go down this way, and all of a sudden, the road, and this is what I'm saying about Cypriot roads, by the way. I talk about if I was only going to have one car, I'd have a 4x4. Then it starts to go off road, right? And then it starts to get worse. And you're coming down here and it'll just get worse. And it progressively gets worse the further you go down, right? And this is the road. This is the actual road to the restaurant. And it's bumpy as heck. Now, we were driving down here. And because, you look how far we've just gone now. We're only like here. And we were driving down here towards Vitutka. And I'm not joking when I said to my wife, I was like, we're those people that you read about online. We're the people that you read about online that get mugged somewhere really stupid. And we're driving to this restaurant, and I literally said to her, I said, there is no way there is going to be a restaurant here. No way. And we got there, and it's flipping lovely, and it's turned out to be one of my favorite restaurants on the island. So that's another one. And another one that we like, I'm just going to finish with this one. I'll start talking about restaurants now. If you go to Paya and Savas Grill, we really like it here. They do amazing food. They do really good moussaka. This one, Savas Grill. Only a small little joint, but it's lovely. Really like it. Really good food. In fact, what does it get on the star rating? Let's just see. 4.6, but it's really nice. Anyway, so you should definitely give that one a go and try the moussaka there. It's really cool. Really nice. Like I said, really nice people, really nice food. When we go there, my son, actually, he plays with because we know the owners here. And this isn't me pimping them out, by the way. So I wouldn't recommend something I didn't like, and we'll eat there quite regularly. So I'm only going to recommend to you places that I actually like rather than just because I know the people. But my son will play with their kids, and literally they disappear for ages. Like, in fact, we've been here with a couple of people, been here with a few people, and they'll just disappear around the back, and they'll just disappear around the back, and we might not see them for half an hour. We're sitting in a restaurant eating, and they're saying about the amount of freedom that kids have, and they will just be out playing somewhere, just around the back, and it's really nice. So anyway, there's some restaurants. Hopefully that gives you some food for thought, literally. here all week, or not, just here on a Sunday. Joanna, so Asha, ooh, driving video to movie locations. Yes. Did somebody suggest that, or are you just saying that? No, I think you're just saying that. No, I'm well up for that. I like driving, so any excuse to drive, I would do for sure. Mm. The thing is, there's not many things filmed on the island, which is why it's a big deal when they do film here. So yeah, I would love to do driving locations. I'm that guy that would drive around Hollywood, not because I'm into celebrities. I'm actually not interested in celebrities really. I don't do the whole look at just not really interested. But I do like seeing things in real life that I've seen on TV. It's a bit like when you go and see I don't know, the Empire State Building or something. It's good to see what you've seen on TV in real life. You can see a lot of things on a screen. You can look on Street View and everything else, but it's always better to see it in person. So yeah, I don't mind driving. If I can drive somewhere and see something, I will do that. 25 past 11. We'll keep going. There's loads of comments in the chat still, so let's keep going. Ben, we'll reach out to you on Instagram. Cool. All right. Is the Muse by the Old Town? The Muse by the Old Town. Incredible food with amazing views. I haven't heard of that. Let's have a look at the Muse because I'm interested myself now. The Muse. Let's have a look. Oh, I know which one. I've wanted to go in here for a long time now. It's got this tiny little balcony, hasn't it? Oh, hang on a minute. Am I thinking of somewhere else? This is the Old Town, isn't it? Oh, hang on a minute. Oh no, I don't know. No, I don't know that one. I thought, just so that you know what I'm on about. Oh, come on. Where is it? Ah, this bit. Oh, I thought. Okay. Momo Asian kid. Okay, right. I mean, it's almost the Muse, isn't it? I thought you were talking about this one with a little balcony up here. I want to go in here. Anybody been there? Is it any good? Right, let's go back to the Muse. Got amazing views, has it? Where is this then? Oh, it's near our architects, actually. Our architects are around here for our builds. Let's have a look, though, the Muse. Oh, yeah, it's got nice views, isn't it? Huh. Oh, wow. Okay. We might need to give that one a go. And you say it's got amazing food, yeah? That sounds incredible food and amazing views. Awesome. Oh, it does look nice. That has just been added to the list. That's just been added to this. Thank you very much. Ella, regarding your son's activities, is there a horse riding club, learning music, example, piano, guitar? I don't know about a horse riding club, I'm going to be honest. I mean, there are people that do horse riding out here because some of his friends have done it. I have a thing about horses. The fact that a horse paralyzed Superman doesn't really do it for me. I wouldn't want him on a horse. It's just not. I don't know. I don't mind him doing silly speeds in a go kart. He's never going to die in a go kart, but he might die on a horse. And of course, he could die in a go kart. I know, but I don't know. Something about a go kart. You're in control of a go kart, and if you crash, it's probably your fault. But a horse can do something unpredictable. So there are horse places out here. Not really my bag for him. Would he want to do it? I don't know. He rode a donkey, not quite a horse. Actually, I'll tell you a story. So you go to the donkey sanctuary. I'm going to come on to the rest of your question in a minute, or the rest of your point. Oh, let me go back to the maps. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time tonight, you'll see that they end up being quite interactive, and it's just me prattling on for ages. But if you come up towards Cathicus, there is, where's the donkey? That's one, this donkey farm. This is awesome, right? You actually, let me not show, yeah, I don't want to spoil it. So this is awesome. It looks terrible. Let me show you the street view of the donkey farm. So you drive past it on the way to Cathicus, and when you look outside, you kind of wouldn't want to stop there. It looks horrible. As in, you just, it looks like there's nothing really happening, right? And it's that. It's like a shed, snack bar cafe, right? Now, Down here, you'll see there's some stuff going on, and it just doesn't look very aesthetically pleasing. Now, when you look at the pictures and then you start to look around, the views, oh my word, you can see all the way down to Paya. And that picture's not really doing it justice. Let me see if I can find you a different picture. Right. And the views are epic when you go here. And they do these fruit juices, like that type of thing. So they do these fruit juices, which are all made by the guy who owns it on the land. And it's really cool, really nice. But anyway, it's a donkey farm. So you got a donkey and a kid. You can't ride the kid, you can only ride the donkey. Look at that. A cute thing, isn't it? In it. That's the Hinkley in me. The Inkley in it. Right. So where am I going? Oh, there you go. This is inside. And again, just beautiful views. It doesn't look anything special, but all the produce there is all homegrown. The honey is homegrown. The juices are homegrown. They give you, no. They sell you donkey milk. Now, a litre of milk in the supermarket, it's about €2-3, something like that. I think like €3 for the 4 pints. A litre of donkey milk will set you back €40, but apparently it's good for medicinal purposes. I think it's good for the guy's bank, but apparently there is medicinal purposes for drinking donkey milk. You should try it, actually. It's if you're going to come and you're going to try something new, it's cool. But anyway, what am I telling you this? So they have a little farm and they have some chickens and they've got some other things on the go. I go, here's some of the produce that they sell. But they have donkeys, which is these little guys here. Now, you see how they're all behind this gate and they're all on the side of this, they're all on the hillside, basically. Well, they took us when we went on a donkey ride. You got them here. So they're normally on the other side of this gate. And you can kind of see it here. Yeah, there you go. They're all on the other side of the gate there. And they just kind of live and they walk around there. Now, we went there for a donkey ride. My son wanted to go on a donkey. And this was when we were doing the trial living in 2022. So we get there and we say, hey, can my son go on a donkey ride? Yep, no problem. So he literally goes, I'm just looking to see if I can find it. He literally goes onto the hillside and he gets a donkey. And it was a mama donkey because there was a little baby donkey screaming its head off when the other donkey got taken away. So it had to be the mama donkey. So anyway, he takes his donkey off the hillside and he walks him round and there's these 3 steps that go to nowhere. And he literally stands the donkey in front of this step. And the donkey just stands there. He then walks off, he gets a saddle, comes back and he saddles the donkey up in front of us. My son's really happy at this point, he's fascinated, and he lets my son jump on the back of the donkey. Now, I've ridden donkeys in the UK when I was a kid, and like everything in the UK, there was all the health and safety brigade around. You've got metal railings where the donkey would be in its kind of pen or whatever, and you got to do a lap, and it was because the guy was walking around with the donkey in case the donkey did something unpredictable. And that's your donkey ride in the UK. Out here, he saddles the donkey up. My son sits on top, and the guy gives me the rein, right? And then let me come back to the map. See that yellow car over there? Actually, I'll come back to this. He says, you see that yellow car over there? He says, yeah. He says, walk up to the yellow car, take a right, walk around the mountain, walk around the hills, and just come back in half an hour. I was like, excuse me? I'm not qualified to walk a donkey. What do I do with a donkey? I've got this freaking... So I'm walking, the donkey's following me, and I'm walking this bloody donkey. My son's on the back, he's loving it. I'm like, holy crap, I'm walking a donkey. What do I do with a donkey? Hoping it doesn't just decide it wants to run off somewhere. It's got my boy on the back. So anyway, he walks around. We just walk around on this donkey for the next half an hour. My son's really happy. And we take it in turns, me and my wife take it in turns walking this donkey. And then there's another wild donkey on the hillside, this little Larry thing, a black thing, kept coming up to us, trying to kick us, little sod, kept running past and trying to kick us with its hooves. It turned around and tried and like back kick us. And it was getting quite nasty actually. But anyway, this donkey experience, it was really good by comparison to what you get in the UK. And it's just testament to how things work in Cyprus. But so you come down here, like I say, this was, you can't really see it, but like kind of like the 3 steps are sort of here. And then we walk up here and he literally sent us up this way. And there was, maybe it was somewhere here, but there was literally a yellow car here. No, this is very green, actually. It wasn't this green when we were there. You walk up and then literally we just walk around here. We're just walking around. And I'm just walking around the hillside. My son on the back of this donkey. Anyway. So yes, there are horse ride places out here. but I wouldn't want him to go on them personally. And what are the other things that you've said? Dance schools, music schools, dance schools, theatres. Yeah, I mean, there's chess. Interestingly, chess is really big on the island because he used to go to a chess club. Loads of people play chess out here. That's strange. Well, not strange. I like chess. You know, he likes chess, but yeah, chess is a big thing. Whereas in the UK, chess didn't seem to be a big thing at all. It's like it was always the geeky, nerdy kids that played chess in the UK, but here it just seems to be socially acceptable. A lot of people play chess. Dancing, not really into theatres. I mean, he's a good actor, little bugger. But I don't know. Sports clubs, yes. He goes to multi sports. He goes kickboxing. He wants to go to the gym when he's old enough as well. He does go karting. Actually, he loves his go karting. But again, they're all outside things. You know, even the kickboxing, they don't even have the aircon on in the studio half the time. You know, it's always, you know, there are things to do, yes, but the variety isn't like it is in the UK. That said, here's me saying the variety is not the same as UK. They did do, and ISOP, the school, had these open days, not open days, like a festivals, summer festivals. They do like the food festivals and things like that. And he was doing this thing in there, and it was like woodwork. And that was really cool. They literally had these adults, and you got remember, like these are kids. I think he was 6 or 7 at the time, 7 maybe. And he's got these people in there, and they're letting him use power drills, drilling through bits of wood and making things out of wood. So there are wood workshop things on the island, you know, stuff like that that I didn't see in the UK. And if it was in the UK, you'd probably have somebody stood there in a high vis jacket, wearing a freaking hat or something, you know. But here it was just people doing stuff. So there are things to do. You can go to robotics classes, you know, things like that. But they're all kind of vocational. But for kids to kind of just have a bit of fun, you know, I mean, yes, learning is fun in those environments. You know, you can do programming classes, robotics classes, all kind of attached to the school. You know, they've got summer camps and things like that. But, you know, when it comes to just out and out having a bit of fun, like I say, the indoor golfs, the play centres, things like that, they're very scarce on the island. So, yeah. But good suggestions, though, for sure. And yeah, like I say, there are all of those things here. Okay. Karen Cliffy. Hey, you've changed your name. I know your name's Karen, but Cliffy's come back. Welcome back. Used to be very good steakhouse in Colossi, probably not there anymore. Okay. I'm not sure where Colossi is. Where's Colossi? Let's have a look. Colossi. Oh wow. Okay. I was like, I just saw United Kingdom. Sorry, there we go. So this is Limassol way because it is. So you see here, you can see Cyprus and the United Kingdom. That's because the base area is technically the United Kingdom, which is why when there was the conflict back in, well, not the conflict is still ongoing in Iran, but when the drone hit in March, it just hit a bit of the base down in RAF Akrotiri, which is technically the United Kingdom. The Republic of Cyprus was never attacked. It never has been. Well, I mean, it has, but not. It wasn't attacked in March. But interesting. That's Colossi. Okay. Who types steakhouse? Uh, no, you're right. It's not there anymore. Asha, there's a horse riding school in the sea caves, music schools, dance schools, theatre, sports clubs, scouts. That's a good point, actually, with the Cubs. So, yeah, Jacob's joined or joining the Cubs. And that's interesting because it's Greek speaking. So they do speak a bit of English, but predominantly this Cubs is all in Greek, which is going to be awesome for him to learn because he's learning it at school anyway, but he'll get to interact more with Greek kids and make some more Greek friends. So that'd be nice. Asha, apparently Channing Tatum is coming here to film something. Is he? Okay. I'll let you do that video. Philip, at Karen Cliffy, I'm ex army in the 80s. Gutted I never had Cyprus posting. Did Hong Kong and Germany. That's cool. Which did you prefer, Philip? Did you prefer Hong Kong or Germany? Austin Fahrenheit 3191. Muse is great. Agree with that. Question: what do you know about buying non deeded property worth the risk? That is a good question. That is a very good question. I'll have a drink first. I'm going to keep you waiting in suspense. So it depends on your risk appetite. People will quite often buy property with no title deeds because it's cheaper. I know somebody that bought a property with no title deeds because they could buy it in cash and they didn't have to pay rent, and they didn't mind if they lost the cash. They had enough, enough of a buffer and everything else. So, worst case scenario, if something happened in the future and they lost the house or couldn't sell the house or whatever, they didn't mind. It was like a sunk cost to them, but it meant that they didn't have to pay rent or pay a mortgage or anything like that. So they took the risk. A lot of people will take the risk and you get a property cheaper for sure. But it is a risk because people will say, don't buy a property without title deeds because you don't really own it. And that is true. From what I understand, that is true because if you don't have the title deeds, then it's not really yours, but you could have just handed over 80 grand, 100 grand or whatever. It could be more than that if you're buying a big villa and you don't have title deeds. But it comes down to your risk profile. It depends how much you want to spend. It depends if it's going to be your only house and all of that, because technically somebody else owns that house. Somebody else has the title deeds to your house. Probably in a lot of cases, it can be the developer, right? So developers will quite often keep the title deeds until the build is finished. And this is where you will get people that have bought from a developer having their title deeds held ransom. And then they get hit with a bill and they'll go, well, if you want your title deeds, that's another 30, 40, 50 grand, right? Just to get your title deeds. So developers will quite often keep the title deeds. And then you've got the owners that then struggle and you struggle to sell it and everything else. What I would say is for most people, don't buy a house without title deeds would be what I would say. I wouldn't buy a house without title deeds. If you've got cash to burn and you just want something that you can basically call your own, the chances of somebody coming knocking on your house because you haven't got title deeds, the chances of somebody coming knocking and going, oi, that's mine. I've not heard of that happening, but it could happen, is kind of the approach I'd take. So if you've got money to burn and you don't mind sinking it into a property that maybe one day somebody comes and says, that's mine, not yours, then go ahead and buy it. But it is a risk. So just go into it eyes open wide. Me personally, I wouldn't. Ben, haha, yes, different place. You'll have to try it. Ella, judo club for kids. Yeah, I mean, martial arts is a big thing out here. Well, I say big thing. It's not a big thing. There's taekwondo on the island. There's kickboxing on the island. There's jiu-jitsu's on the island. MMA is on the island. So there are clubs like that. Yeah, for sure. Asha, oh yeah, lots of those jiu-jitsu, taekwondo. Okay, fine. I've got Stefan, not a fan of horses either. I don't like animals. I can't take in a fist fight. You're telling me you can't punch a horse? How's your neck thing? Sorry if you answered this already. Just got on. Well, the neck thing, I am waiting for now. So I had the MRI scan. I'm hesitating because Hemmer, if you're still watching this, I'm going to tell you about this next week. I haven't told you about it because there's not been a need to tell you about it. Hemmer's somebody I'm going to see in England next week. I'll tell you face to face. But anyway, for those of you that I'm not going to see face to face that are interested, then I had the MRI scan on my neck and it came back last week on Friday. In fact, hot off the press, it's confirmed to be a tumor. So got to get a tumor removed. What I don't know yet is whether or not it's cancerous. So that's that. I'll find out this week. There we go. So I'll let you know. If it is, then I will probably do another health update from the hospital and I will talk about my experiences of hospital at that side, because like when I went for the operation in November, I talked about my experiences with the hospital. And I think that's the type of content that people don't really get to see. Like you see lots of people on YouTube and they're filming stuff and they're talking about stuff and a lot of it is, I'm not going to say samey, but it's Cyprus Unfiltered for a reason. I'm trying to show you the stuff that most people wouldn't normally show you. So, at some point, there's going to come a point now where I have to have an operation and I'm going to end up with a scar down here for sure. Unless, well, it depends. If it's, okay, wasn't going to go into all of this tonight, but you've asked, so I'll tell you. Depending on what it is, it could be that it gets fixed with chemo. It could be that it gets fixed with radiotherapy. It could be that they cut it out. Don't know. I'm assuming at some point they're going to cut my neck open. I'm going to have a big scar, and that's the end of it. That's what I'm hoping. Best case scenario is it's just a non-benign tumor, and they cut it out, and that's it. It's done. But it means I'll have a scar, and I'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you about the operation. I'll tell you about my time in the hospital, and I'll tell you what it's like, and I'll tell you which hospital I go to, and the process, and all of that stuff. I'm just going to put it all out there, not because I want sympathy, not because I want anything like that. It's because if you're thinking of moving to the island, healthcare is a big thing for people on the island. People are worried about it. If you're coming from the UK and you think, okay, you got the NHS, what's healthcare really like on the island? I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you about it. There we go. Where we got to? Austin, for martial arts for kids. Furious Fighters in Paphos is good. Oh, what do they do? Let's have a look. Furious Fighters. What sort of martial arts is it? Oh, is it boxing? There's a boxing club. Oh, cool. Yeah, it looks good actually. Oh, that's cool. It's a boxing club. Cool. Actually looks really smart. I used to do kickboxing back in the day. I used to do it myself. Like kickboxing. Where are we? Josie Alp. Every time you talk about the UK, it sounds like you hate it. It's really not bad here. It's completely different countries. They're going to be different. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And the thing is, I don't hate it. I respect where I came from, and I had an awesome childhood. I'm not one of these people that sits here and goes, my childhood was so hard. It wasn't. I lived in a village. My parents, they didn't have much, but they gave me what they could. And I absolutely loved it. As a kid, I loved it. The amount of freedom that we had. I used to come in from school. I'd wolf some food down that my mum would give me, and then I would be out on my bike until 10 o'clock at night, and then I'd be back late, and then I'd get grounded because I'd stayed out too long. And, my parents just wouldn't see me for 6 hours after school or whatever. Where I lived in Burbage, I would not do that with my son anymore. It's got to the point where right before we left in Burbage, and in fact, actually, I'll show you this, right? And I know you can find crime anywhere. So this is going to be slightly biased, but if I just type Burbage and what I'm going to type here, Burbage, man robbed for takeaway, right? Oh, news. Oh, it's broken. I'm broken it. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, it's a really bad example. Or was that a bad example? Just not finding it. Man wielding machete breaks into Burbage store. Point is, and like you can get crime everywhere, right? But we moved to Burbage because it was a nice area. But even still, at 8 years old, I wouldn't let my son now, even if we lived in Burbage, we lived in a nice part of Burbage, I wouldn't want my son to be going out on his own. Now, you flip that around here, my son gets a lot of freedom that he wouldn't have in the UK. We can go out to places. In fact, I did a live video about 2 and a bit weeks ago. It's only a short video. If you're interested, it's about 2 or 3 minutes long. And we're in the center of Paphos on a Saturday night. And at one point, I didn't know where my boy was. He was playing around somewhere. He was playing with all his mates. And we'd gone out after this festival. And it was so safe. Like Paphos is safe. Like he was out on my site. Now, people coming to Cyprus from the UK would go, well, that's really irresponsible parenting. It is until you get used to it. And then you see it's a Cypriot way of life. And you see that actually a lot of people in Cyprus just relax into that way of life. And I would not go into Leicester on a Saturday night. I wouldn't want to go to Leicester on a Saturday night. I was born in Leicester. I don't even want to go into Leicester on a Saturday night, let alone take my son there. So I have no issues going out in an evening with my boy who's 8. I have no issues with my wife walking around on her own if she wanted to, out in Paphos with her friends or whatever. That just wouldn't bother me. But I wouldn't be comfortable doing that in the UK anymore because, is the UK bad? I mean, the news always blows things out of proportion, right? You look at all the knife crime. It gets blown out of proportion. Like on the run up to 2020 and the run up to COVID, knife crime was massive. And then COVID came along and everybody stopped getting stabbed. all of a sudden, yeah, right, there was less people on the streets, but knife crime was not a thing. And all of a sudden it was just COVID. And like literally media instills fear. And now you've just had this, the knife attack on this Polish guy. And that's become a big thing in the news. And so, yes, the press does a lot to drive up fear and everything else in the UK. And I know it's not that bad. Like if it was that bad, I wouldn't be coming back to take my son and go out and stuff. That said, I will feel like I'm going to be looking over my shoulder in London. We're going to London for 3 days. I won't feel safe right now. Like literally, I'm going to take my son's AirTag. He's going to wear that. I won't feel that safe walking around London. I'll be looking over my shoulder. I'll be very aware of my surroundings in London. Whereas here, I let my guard down. And that's a nice feeling. It's nice to relax out here because I'm not feeling like something's going to happen all the time. And in the UK, unfortunately, I don't get that feeling anymore. Whether it's in Burbage, whether it's in the cities, I don't feel that level of safety anymore. Do I still like the UK? Yeah, it's stunning. Like literally, I came back in February and I was there in March and I was driving around. I hired a car in Feb and driving through the countryside, and it was super pretty. Like the hills and everything else was lovely compared to Cyprus. And Cyprus is very picturesque. You've got the mountains, you've got the sea, but you don't have the countryside like you have in the UK. So I love it. So do I hate the UK? No. Do I prefer living out in Cyprus? Yes. The healthcare is much better out here than the UK, like way better. The freedom that my son gets is better, is safer. The people that I meet in Cyprus, typically I've got more in common with the people I meet out here than the people that I met in the UK, because in the UK, the people that you met and that you networked with were as a result of either your physical location and your proximity to them or your place of work. And they were the people that you met. Unless you put yourself out there and you went to networking meetings and masterminds and everything else where you could meet people that were like-minded, you didn't really encounter them. But in Cyprus, what you find is that most people out here, like a lot of the people, you've got to have a certain level of means to come out here these days. And therefore, a lot of people are into business. A lot of people are, doing something with their lives. And it makes them interesting. It makes them, you can sit and talk for hours like you've known them for years, because on some level, you have something in common with them. You've never met them before, but you've ended up in the same country by choice, not just out of circumstances to where you live. And so naturally, you will want similar things in life. Therefore, you tend to connect with people better. You tend to gel with people better. All of that I love about Cyprus, and I didn't really get in the UK, but it doesn't mean I hate the UK. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that now because I need a drink. What time are we on? We're on 10 to midnight. We might be on for a new record tonight because there's still 29 people online. I'm still going strong. And there's loads of comments. So let's keep going. I've lost where I'm at. Lots of comments. Where are we at? Oh, there we go. So anyway, so Josie, hopefully that gives you a bit of balance. But Asha, Channing Tatum is my name. Channing Tatum is my name, Jeff. For anybody that doesn't know that reference, because my username is Jeff on here. For anybody that doesn't know that reference, it's from either 21 or 22 Jump Street. I think 22 Jump Street. Anyway, it's a good film. It's funny. If you haven't seen it, really good. You should definitely watch it. We've got to Philip. Hong Kong was awesome. Yeah, see, I'd love to go to Hong Kong. We were talking about this recently, actually. Another place I'd like to go is Japan. I'd love to go to Japan. Never been. I really want to go. So I'm interested in that neck of the woods. My dad used to live out in Malaysia. So I like Asia. And I think, to be honest, if it wasn't for, this is going to sound horrible now, if it wasn't for my wife, if it wasn't for the fact that my wife's got family in Poland, because I don't really have any family anymore. I've got a brother in the UK, but otherwise all my family's passed away for the most part. I've got some like distant cousins and stuff like that, but like my immediate family, all my parents, grandparents, all of that is just all gone. So the silver lining of that is that I'm not tied to a location anymore, because whether I fly to Poland from the UK or fly to Poland from Cyprus kind of doesn't make any difference. You still have to jump on a plane. But had we not needed to be nearer to Poland, I mean, I love Cyprus, don't get me wrong, but I would have probably been over in Asia. I like Asia. I love Singapore. They're very expensive, but I love Singapore. So yeah, Hong Kong, interesting. I'd like to go to Japan as well. So don't want to tell you that. I guess it's interesting. Maybe it is. If it's not interesting, turn me off. uh, there, there are Betty. What? Oh, the real Betty Swallocks. Okay, that makes you sound super famous. Who's Betty Swallocks? I need to look you up now. The real Betty Swallocks. Good luck, mate. Fingers crossed. It's an easy. Good. Fingers crossed. It's an easy removal, and that's it. No, thank you. I hope so too. We'll see. I'm not worried. I know I know I'm in the best place for it. Now I'm going to bash the UK again. I'm sorry, Josie, but I'm the one thing that people cannot tell me out here is that the healthcare absolutely trounces that of the UK in terms of speed. Now, the NHS, both of my parents went through the NHS, and if they had that same level of treatment out in the USA, they would probably have been bankrupted. So I have a lot of respect for the NHS. If you've got a terminal illness, it is awesome. It's that kind of palliative care, that level of service on the NHS is really good. They give you the attention. The stuff that my parents had done over the years, it would have bankrupted the family, I'm sure, had they had to pay it out in America. So the NHS is good for what it was set up for. But the problem with the NHS is that it is now oversubscribed and there are too many people on it. The waiting lists are crazy long. And as a result of that, you've got people waiting years, at least months or years for certain things, right? And as a result, people will live either in pain or discomfort or whatever. And some people don't even get treated properly. And I'm fairly certain, and obviously can't say this with 100% certainty, but I'm fairly certain that if I was with the NHS right now, the first set of MRI scans that I had, like if you've not seen those health videos, by the way, and this isn't me banging on about me, poor old me, like my health, whatever. No, it's talking about being able to walk in off the street as a walk-in, going and getting a CT scan, being in the hospital for 25 minutes and walking out with your results, right? The MRI scan I just did recently was a similar thing. I went in, my appointment was 8:30 in the morning. I got there at 8:20. I was in not the operating theatre, whatever the room's called, whatever the room's called where the MRI scanner machine is. I was in there 8:25, having filled in the form, and I was walking out at 8:55 with the imagery and the scans on a CD, and then they emailed me my results within 2 or 3 working days. Right, that on the NHS would have been probably months to wait. So I know that from a diagnosis point of view and everything, I am in the best place. I would not want to be doing this in the UK because by then, if it is the worst, time is everything when it comes to this. And if it is the worst thing, it would be not diagnosed anywhere near as quickly as it is here. So anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that, but I do. Oh, because you're all wishing me best wishes. Yeah, I'm in the best place for it. That's all I can say. I'm definitely in the best place for it. Austin, Fahrenheit 3191. Shipballs. That's a new one. Shipballs. Sorry to hear about the neck. Clicked in this because property was in the title. Then we started talking about donkey tracking. And now neck tumors. This has been a ride. Hope it's benign. Anyhow, right. So, Austin, because this is clearly one of your first, I don't recognize the username. So clearly this is because you're new to the channel, which is awesome. For those of you that are new, yeah, I do a bit of content each week live. And I go live because, and I've probably said this loads of times now, but I go live because with AI being what it is, it's really hard to fake being live. It's really hard to fake this level of interaction. So I get to connect with people better being live. I get to answer questions live. And also, I love the interaction as well. But it just means that you get to see me for me. Like, I'm not giving you a polished version. I'm not editing this. Whatever happens, if I forget my words, if I stumble over my words, if I make a mistake, if I say something stupid, it doesn't matter. You get to see it all. And so on a Sunday night, I will go live and there'll be a topic, there'll be something I talk about. And then it's a free for all. We do a live Q&A and we talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you've got a question, you ask me. If I can answer it, I will. If I can show you stuff, I will. If I can't, then I won't. And maybe I can point you in the direction. But anyway, I'm glad you're finding it. Well, that's me putting an assumption on you. I hope you're finding it entertaining and useful. And yeah, I appreciate the feedback and I appreciate the well wishes. I hope it's benign too. I don't know what else to say. The real Betty Swallocks. In CY, you still have general So in Cyprus, you still have a general mentality that parents look out for older kids. No, sorry, parents look out for other kids if they see them in bother or causing bother. Yes, yes, you are right. About 6, 7 weeks ago, we were in Picnic Forest. Picnic Forest. There we go. Let's go to Picnic Forest. Oh no, there's a man being robbed. Let's not do that. There's me on Instagram. If you just joined, you can get me on Instagram. There's no new content on there. It's automated clips of the Sunday nights, but you can message me on Instagram if you want to. If you don't, then don't. But anyway, let's go to Picnic Forest. Like it here. This is a really nice place to go as well. So you can go to Picnic Forest, and this is just up the hill from. You come down here, it's up the hill, beautiful road up here, and you come into Picnic Forest, and you will go down this way, and there's a car park here, and there's a picnic site here, and it's really nice. And what happens is, there you go, here's a picnic site. What happens is people will come here for different festivals. Like you come here for Easter. At Easter, this place was packed, and it's packed with families just having barbecues, and it's lovely, really nice. So you got these, excuse me. So this here, it looks like a cow trough, but it's not. You can see all the charcoal. It's like designated places for barbecues. So people will just have picnics at the table, and they rock up, and you can just cook on your barbecue in this open area, and it's all nice and safe and everything else. And kids just love playing here. It's really nice. And you can walk and you see some amazing views. This is Potima Bay. You can see a bit of Paya over here, and sorry, that's Coral Bay, not Paya, Coral Bay. But anyway, so there you go. You got like water well. Oh, here you go. Somebody's got a video. Let's watch their video. You can watch me watching somebody's video. That's some entertainment for you, isn't it? So yeah, so it's like a forest, and it's just really nice. Yeah. So anyway, why am I showing you this? Well, because we were there about 7 weeks ago, something like that. And again, because it's Cyprus, my son was out of sight, and he was playing with his friends, and there was a load of them running around. And anyway, one of his friends comes running over to me to say Jacob's hurt himself. I'm like, okay, cool. So, well, it's not cool, but I went over, and I was going over to him. And while I'm walking in his direction, there were two adults with him, picking him up off the floor, walking him towards me while he's crying. I'm like, oh, okay. So I went over to him, helped him up, thanked the parents. And it's exactly what you've just said. You've got parents looking out for the kids. So rather than just letting him cry and kind of sitting there going, oh, well, where are the parents? What would probably happen in the UK, where are the parents, irresponsible. They were like, oh no, there's a kid crying, let's help him. They picked him up, like, where's your mum and dad? Over there. So they start walking him over to us. And then literally, probably about an hour, maybe 2 hours later, I'm walking to, I think I was going to go get something out of the car. And as I'm walking past the group, they were like, oh, how's your son? And I'm like, oh, he's really good. Thanks very much for looking after him. No, they were actually like, showing concern 2 hours later, asking how he was. It was lovely. Absolutely lovely. So yeah, it is really nice. My username is Jeff. No, he's not. He's not. He's not as good looking as me. At least that's what Sharon tells me, and she is always right. Love that. Asha, oh Sharon, don't lie to your husband. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Philip, our so-called leaders and puppets are destroying the UK. Well, I mean, politics is an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I try not to get involved with politics, try not to have, I say have an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion on stuff, but again, I just voted with my feet. You can see everybody's got an opinion. The way I look at it is, it doesn't matter who you vote for. It's just kind of like, which way do you want to get screwed? They're all going to get you one way or another. They all make false promises. So, I think the problem with it is that you've got the UK and it's been run by politicians, and I just think it needs somebody a bit more business savvy. It needs somebody to look out for the balance sheets and go, you know what, this stuff isn't sustainable. And how do you grow the UK versus how do you drive it into the knees? Run it into the ground. Sorry, not drive it into the knees. What the hell's that? How do you run it into the ground? It's just the way it feels like. Alex, midnight is a new record. Ha! No, 10 past midnight was the record. Karen is on a marathon. I'm actually going quite strong, actually. I probably shouldn't be. I've got to get up tomorrow. I've got work. Anyway, I'm doing all right. Taking my son to school. I'll be up in 6 hours, but it's all good. I can't go to my like and share screen because it's just a blank screen. It's broken tonight. For those of you that are on for the first time, I broke my screen and I didn't fix it before the call. So I'm going to have one last drink. And what I'm going to say is, while I keep you hanging. If you're finding this interesting, if you're finding it entertaining, or in any way, shape, or form helpful, and you think somebody else will benefit from it, please give it a share. If you see somebody on Facebook asking a question, you think my videos could help them, just share it with them. Hopefully, they'll get some benefit from it too. I am trying to build the channel that I wished existed 3 years ago when we were first looking to move out to Cyprus. And I'm trying to document what life is really like out here on the island. It is my opinion, though. It's my opinion, it's my experiences. That'll be different to other people's opinions and experiences. But this is just my view, it's my lens on the world. Love it or hate it, it's just my view. So if you are finding it interesting and you haven't liked it already, give it a like. If you're not subscribed, then please do so because, and I've said this a couple of times tonight, but for those of you that might have joined partway through, I go live every week. And in 2 weeks' time, I will be coming back from the UK and I'm going to land at just gone probably like 10, half 10, I think it is, which means I'd be on a plane at the time I should be going live. Now, I've been live every week since October and I'm going to continue going live until people stop turning up. So I am going to be going live in 2 weeks' time, but I don't know what time. I'm going to be rocking up at probably 11:30, midnight. I'm going to be starting about this time and just seeing who joins, probably be people from the UK at this point. So I will start around 11:30. It probably won't be a long night, but I just want to go live anyway. So if you've subscribed and if you hit the little notification, you will get notified when I actually go live. So there you go. If that's useful for you, then do that. And if it's not, well, then don't. Philip, I have sacrificed watching 2 World Cup games tonight. Mark, you are more interesting. Yes. That's it. I'm actually blown away, Philip. I know I'm laughing, but I'm genuinely blown away. Not because I'm more interesting than football. I know I'm more interesting than football. I hate football. Honestly, like I'm not a football person. Never have been, and I can understand why you think this might be more interesting. I'm blowing my own trumpet. I actually don't get it. I'll be honest. I genuinely don't get it. When I first started going live back in October for about the first 3 months, I know a lot of you have heard this already, but people that are new tonight won't have heard it. For about the first 3 months, it was just me on here talking to my wife. And I remember about December time, probably late December. I remember logging on, and there's 35 of you on right now, right? There's been 50 something on throughout the night, but I remember logging on for the first time, and there was 2 people waiting, and I was like, "Holy crap! people are waiting to see me talk." And honestly, like here I am now, 6, 7 months in. I'm blown away that people are actually interested. I mean, I kind of hoped it would be helpful to somebody. I kind of thought if I can just help 1 or 2 people, it'd be nice. But I'm staggered that people are actually tuning in to watch and ask questions and everything else because I just think the interaction's awesome. So yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate all your attention and appreciate people dialing in. And if you've genuinely watched this instead of football, then thank you very much. Karen, definitely agree. Thank you. I don't do compliments very well, though, so I'm just going to say thank you and move on. Alex, we haven't talked about Scotland's magnificent victory yet. Did they win? I don't know. If you guys go over to England Unfiltered, I'm sure they're all talking about football on that. Is there England Unfiltered? You guys should start a channel on football. Perrier, have you had the first get together? If so, how did it go? We did. We had the first get together 2 weeks ago, or a week ago yesterday, which is not 2 weeks ago, a week ago. We on the 1st of the month. No, it's 15th of June. Must have been 2 weeks ago. God, time goes fast, doesn't it? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. Blimey. Yeah, we do. First Saturday of the month, we're going to go live, not live, we're going to go again first Saturday next month. So if anybody that's interested in joining, then you'd be more than welcome. How did it go? I mean, people turned up, so that was a good thing. People are in the chat that were there 2 weeks ago, a fortnight ago. What did you think? Did you guys think it went well? I'm not asking for an ego stroke here. I'm asking you to genuinely say, how did you find it? So if you enjoyed it, let people know. Maybe more people will come. But for me personally, I enjoyed it. It's awesome to meet people for the first time. People that I haven't met before. It's really cool. I want to find a permanent home for us so that we go to the same place each month. But yeah, no, it was good. I think it worked out quite well. For those of you that are interested, it generally is just like a pay-as-you-go thing. So rock up and just pay for what you eat, pay for what you eat, pay for what you drink. I don't get anything from it. I'm not making, it's not like I'm charging anybody. It's just like we just rock up. We just go to a venue and we just sit and chat. And if you want to eat, you can eat. If you don't want to eat, you don't have to. And yeah, it was good. It was nice to meet people. So I think it went well. Like I say, people turned up. That was a good thing. The proof will be in the pudding is, do they come back? Because if they come back, then it's gone well. uh, where are we at? Austin, just got the baby to sleep, so I'm off to bed. Glad I found this channel and sure I'll be here again. Awesome. Thanks, Austin. Appreciate you dialing in and have a good night. Have a good night's sleep. Karen, you are the fountain of all knowledge on all things Cyprus, Mark. I wish I was. I like to say, I can only tell you about what I've done. I can tell you about what I know, and I don't think I'm the fountain of knowledge, but I appreciate the insight. I appreciate the compliment, but I don't really know everything. But anyway, thank you. Philip, I love football, but you are a cracking guy to listen to. See that seriously, Philip, that blows my mind. I don't get why. And this isn't me fishing for a compliment. I do not get it. Like, I don't think I'm that interesting. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad you find. I'm glad you're finding it interesting. Because why you hear it. What are we on now? 10 past 10 on a Sunday night. I don't know. I feel very privileged to have your attention for so long. I think it's awesome. So I do enjoy that. Thank you very much. Barrackers catch up was cool. Great chance to meet fellow newcomers and make new friends. Awesome. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that it worked for you, Alex. I'm glad that, like I say, that's kind of what I wanted it to do, because when we first came out here, we didn't really know anybody. We didn't know anybody really. I knew one guy who I met through Blunches and kept in touch with, but we were just at different points in life. Like, he didn't have kids, we did. And so naturally that friendship didn't really last, if that makes sense, just kind of fizzled out. But we didn't know anybody when we came here. So I figured, you know what, if I can set something up in person, I know some people in the chat asked for it, if we can set something up in person, then you guys are chatting to each other in the comments as well as me. And you also get a chance to meet each other. So if people are moving out here and you haven't met people, then if nothing else, you get to meet a few people before you've kind of met anybody really on the island. So hopefully it gives you guys some interaction and some friendships between each other. Karen, hoping to get to meet you, Mark, when we eventually make it over to Cyprus. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. I like to meet new people. So yeah, when are you thinking of coming to Cyprus? And when do you want to get moved over by? What's stopping you as well? I'm always interested in people's opinions, or not opinions, people's own journey as to why they aren't coming straight away, or what they're doing, what they're trying to get done. What we on? We're on 12. This is a new record. 12 minutes past midnight. It's really funny, actually. I'm going to finish on this, and I probably will finish because I actually need to get up tomorrow. I read some of the comments on the videos, and like tonight, right? I'm talking about property on the thumbnail, and the title of the video is me talking about property. And then you'll get some people in the comments and they go, how have you talked about property for 3 hours? Well, I haven't. I talked about property for about 20 minutes. And then the rest of it is you guys asking me questions. But they don't get that. People aren't tuning in live. They just see a question like supermarket prices. How do you talk about supermarket prices for 2 hours 20? It must be the worst video in the world. It may have been, I don't know. But anyway, so it's quite funny. So those of you that are watching live, you'll see that actually most of this is live Q&A, live interaction, as opposed to me talking about the topic. The topic is something that I'd be interested in, but I try and make this a bit more entertaining, a bit more interactive for you guys, rather than me just talking about something that I would have been interested in 3 years ago. But again, I'm interested in your feedback. So if you've got things you want me to talk about, tell me in the comments below, tell me in the chat now, whatever. It's always good. So yeah. Anyway, what we got? Karen, I'm waiting on my Irish citizenship application, so probably not until next May. Okay, well, I mean, that's fair enough. You're not going to be able to speed that up, I don't think. So good luck with the citizenship. When you get that, you'll be able to freely move over here and you won't need to worry about pink slips. You can just do the yellow slip. Philip, Karen, same here. Ask for his autograph. Mine? No. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. I find it, okay, I'm lost for words. That doesn't happen very often. I've had a few people now, probably 2 or 3 times, where people have recognized me locally and they've called me over or whatever, and I've gone and said hello to them. I find it really strange. Like, it blows my mind because I'm no different to you guys. I'm just a guy that happened to move out here 3 years ago and just decided to start talking about it. You guys have probably done way more interesting things in life than I have. I'm just a guy talking about this stuff, talking about his experiences. So I still find it kind of a little bit mind blowing that, you guys talk about it. I'm lost for words now. I'm just going to go. It is midnight. We've set a new record. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for giving me your attention for nearly 3 hours or for however long you've been on. And there's still, how many people on? Still 28 people online. 27 now. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to leave it there. So next week I will be coming to you from the UK. I don't know. It probably won't be a long video next week because I'm in the UK, kind of on holiday with my son and my wife, and I'm going to be in a hotel, and I won't have as much gear with me to be able to do this stuff and show you much on the screens. It's always a little bit trickier when I'm not at my desk or in the office. So I'll do what I can next week, but it'll probably be a little bit shorter because my wife and my boy will probably need to get to bed at some point. We're all going to be in the same hotel room, excuse me, or I'll be in a hotel bar. Don't know. But anyway, I will see you next week. For those of you that are joining in, I'll see you next week. Have a great week all, and I will see you soon. Appreciate you all. Catch you later. Cheers. I can't even I can't fade out. Right. No, okay, I'm still talking. I I can't fade out on my intro screen because I normally fade out on the like and share side because there's a lag on this live stream. I put it on there and I wait until so I put it on here and it comes up here with the like and share, and then I wait for it to come over here. And then I can just turn it all off and it's good. And I know I've not cut the conversation off. So for those of you that have watched any of my early videos, like the timing has kept going wrong. And it, like I say, it's unfiltered, right? It's just totally raw. And so you get to see me getting used to the kit and getting used to what I'm doing on live because it's totally different to pre-recorded because you can't edit it. Well, I'm not editing it anyway. And I could chop those bits out afterwards, but why? You guys can just watch me mess up. It's fine. So anyway, I'm going to go. I don't know how long the lag is going to be. So I'm going to go to a blank screen because this is where the like and share should come in. And there'll be a bit of music playing now and everything else. I'm going to wait for it to go black and then I'm going to turn it off. So, there's some more comments. Philip, you are cool, mate. Thank you very much. I don't feel cool, but thank you. Lee, night buddy. Wow, you guys are still on. Night Lee, night Kelly. Good to have you on. Thank you very much. Kiv8 Vic. Thank you. Oh, thank you guys. That's really cool. There's a new username there. You could have said hello sooner. Maybe you say hello next week. Philip, thanks, Mark. Great as always. No problem. Thanks very much. Hema, you're still on. Blimey. Thanks, Mark. Awesome. Right. Good night, all. I will speak to you next week. See you later, Jeff. My name is Jeff. See you later. I'm going to stop talking. See, now I've ruined it because, right, I'm only coming back because I need to see when it changes over here. And because I've been talking all the way through it, I need to see it off. So I'm going. Bye. See you next week.